On this clear 29-degree night, here's Lisa with Rex Ryan.
Thank you, Mike. Rex, you've said that you really thought that they tried to embarrass you in that Week 2 loss. How do you return that favor tonight?
Well, we're just going to go out and give them everything we have tonight. We know we're a better football team than we were in Week 2, and in a few minutes and later tonight, we're going to find out how much better.
Tom Brady threw for 466 yards against you, the most any quarterback ever has against one of your defenses. What do you throw at him tonight?
Well, no, we're going to mix it up on him. He's not going to be able to sit back there. I can promise you he's not going to have that kind of night.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you, Rex.
Yeah,
All right, we will see if that promise is delivered on Bill Belichick and the Patriots. By this time next week could be the AFC East champs. We'll talk about that scenario if it factors in later on. As usual, when the Patriots win the toss, they defer. So Chandler Jones and the defense goes on the field to handle Buffalo's offense first. Stephen Gostkowski, as good as it gets in this league, not just with the field goals, the game winner against the Giants last Sunday at MetLife in New Jersey, but also outstanding with the touchbacks as well. Buffalo, it is good to have you back on Monday Night Football. It's been 2009 since then, since we've seen the Bills on a Monday, and they'll start it at the 20s. There's no return with Denarius Moore watching the Gostkowski kick go by. All right, Tyrod Taylor comes out, Virginia Tech. He wanted to go there because he was from the same area as Michael Vick and broke all the records there at Virginia Tech. Was an apprentice for 4 years in Baltimore to Joe Flacco. First opportunity as a starter. Missed a few games with a knee injury, John, but that completion percentage and the running ability has made it a good return since injury.
Reminds me of Russell Wilson of the Seahawks, Mike. 250 yards rushing, a very dangerous scrambler, and he's taking care of the football so far.
Look at this out of the gate, John. Both LaShawn McCoy and Carlos Williams together in the backfield. It swings out to McCoy. Good move. He's so good in space, and that's a nice 9-yard gain to start Logan Ryan there for the tackle. So seeing both backs together, the rookie Williams out of Florida State. Can they get the ball to Sammy Watkins? He'd like to see more passes downfield to him. Charles Clay, the tight end, could be a big factor for this game. And Richie Incognito, that left guard, has played very well for Buffalo thus far this year. Nine on the first play. Jerome Felton, the fullback, tries to lead McCoy, but Gerard Mayo, whose playing time has diminished of late, might see a lot of him tonight in a game where Buffalo looks to run the ball, John.
Mayo had a bad injury last year. He is back. Number 51, left side of your screen. You have to set the edge against these Buffalo Bills sweep plays. That time Felton, number 42, the fullback, missed at the point of attack. 3rd and 5.
Mayo had only played 49 snaps the last 3 games. But in there, Jamie Collins, a linebacker, still out for New England, 3rd straight week. McCoy's up at the top of the screen, and the linebacker Hightower goes with him on 3rd and 5. Taylor pressured, hit, and it's incomplete. Malcolm Brown, the real rising rookie, came up the gut along with Dominique Easley to put the pressure on.
And so did Tavon Wilson, backup safety man, on a twist. It's an inside blitz, and they punish Tyrod Taylor. Great start for this New England defense, and Buffalo continues to have a lot of 3-and-outs with their offense.
Easley gets the credit for the pressure there, not Brown. Here is the punt, first time tonight for Colton Schmidt of the Bills. It is caught at the 27-yard line. And Amendola's return only to the 34, and a good special teams player, Marcus Easley, down for the Bills. And immediately the Buffalo athletic training staff is out there to look at Easley. As you see the Bills concerned for their injured player. The Patriots brought that offense out with Tom Brady. They'll wait a moment as they look at Easley. Easley out of the University of Connecticut in his 5th year. Does have a touchdown this year. You see he was making the tackle on Amendola, and one of his teammates came in to finish off the tackle and got the most of the guy who went to school at Stores. We always talk about Matthew Slater, outstanding special teamer for the Patriots, easily as a core special teamer and such a key man to Buffalo. And as you can see, certainly dazed by that hit, so he'll go through the full testing from the athletic training staff for the Bills on their sideline. So here comes Tom Brady and the Patriots as they huddle. They'll start it at their own 34-yard line. We saw the players who the Patriots were intending on starting tonight. There was so much question, John, about the injuries up front. They've been so mixed up front because of those injuries. And we'll note that Cameron Fleming is out there for the first snap at the starting right tackle, even though Sebastian Vollmer is active and was working with the first unit in warm-ups tonight. First play, it will be a run, and Blunt will gain only a yard, 35-yard line. He'll be stopped in the early going. You alluded to this in the pregame as this offense morphs a little bit. We're going to see a lot more of LeGarrette Blunt as the weather gets cold.
Yes, and you're going to see a lot of up-tempo to try to regulate Rex Ryan and all the different defenses that he wants to run.
2nd and 8, first pass towards Gronkowski. It's caught for the first down. Ronald Darby over there on that side of the defense, and that'll move the chains. Brady, as Lisa alluded to when interviewing Rex Ryan, 466 yards. Whether Rex is a head coach or a defensive coordinator, most yards a quarterback is thrown for against one of his defenses.
Rex Ryan!
A run with Blunt and no gain on that one.
Rex Ryan. You knew it was something to the right, Mike. That time they ran a one-back power play. There is Rex Ryan. He knows that this Patriot offense has scored on their opening possession the last 3 outings. Important they get a stop.
On 2nd and 9, the Bills thought they caught a little movement. Gene Steratore, our referee tonight.
False start. Offense number 60. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Let's show you the folks on that Buffalo defense. Jerry Hughes had a very productive start to his season. Mario Williams, only 3 sacks so far. It's a guy with 94 in his career. Manny Lawson, Preston Brown, Nigel Bradham, the backers. Already called Ronald Darby having an excellent rookie season on the corner, and you are very high on Stephon Gilmore, the other corner.
Like him a lot. He's going to be a rich man. He's a free agent playing for a big contract.
Penalty made it 2nd and 14. Lawson was rushing. The release to James White. He'll be a yard shy of the first down, tackled by Bakari Rambo in that secondary. Let's make it 2 yards shy of the first down.
Going to be a screen pass to your left. They bluff the rusher and James White. Important that he steps up and fills a big set of shoes that Dion Lewis left behind. They've had a lot of success over the years with Kevin Faulk, Shane Vereen. Lewis was spectacular, and they need White in a big way.
No Julian Edelman. Who's going to pick up the receiving slack? Perhaps Chris Harper will see more of a role. Undrafted rookie out of Cal is bottom of your screen. Spread out to 3rd and 2. Brady couldn't get the timeout, I don't think, before the movement by Marcus Cannon, the left tackle.
False start. Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's 2 false starts already. This offensive line, it's amazing what Bill Belichick has been able to get done with Tom Brady and this offensive line. You see Fleming playing right tackle. He played left tackle last week. The center wasn't even drafted. Cannon, the left tackle, has been out for a few weeks. I don't know who's coming and going with Tom Brady up front. 2 penalties already.
Mike Jack Will. There. 319.
3rd and 7. Bills bring pressure. Another flag is down off the hands of Gronkowski into the hands of Rambo. Bakari Rambo with the pick and some space across the 30 and down at the 24-yard line. Let's check the flag. Brady also took a hit and went down afterwards. Let's sort out the flag. As that ball off the hands of Gronkowski, and Bakari Rambo, if it stands, will have a 39-yard return of the interception. And it looks like it'll stay this way.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Illegal formation. Offense number 61 was not on the line of scrimmage. Also prior to the pass. Holding defense number 20. Those penalties offset, and we will replay. Third down.
The Bills defense started walking off the field after they heard the first report of a penalty.
And you see all the different looks, Mike, that Rex Ryan has given to Tom Brady. They've caused 2 false starts, and they're causing a lot of communication with their rookie center and veteran quarterback. Watch carefully at all the movement in this Buffalo defense in these obvious passing situations.
James White, the back, 3rd and 7, pressure right up the middle, and Brady got rid of it, complete for the first down to Amendola at the 40. It's a gain of 11. Corey Graham got there a second late.
Hard to coach this. Brady stands right in there under intense pressure and throws a beautiful strike for a first down. Pocket toughness. And Brady has done it for a long time. That's impressive.
As I said, John, on that interception before that was nullified with the offsetting penalties, Brady also took a really heavy shot. So the Bills are getting there early. LeGarrette Blount now the running back on first down. Virtually no gain as he is pulled down. It was Alex Carrington on the stop. This was after the interception. Brady took a step or two towards the play and then got hit by Nigel Bradham. That's right at the hairy edge of what should be a foul. They protect quarterbacks in that situation. If you're pursuing a tackle, you can be hit like that. Brady had only taken 1 step that way, so that was just on the edge with Bradham. It's 2nd down and 9. Now a lot of time for Brady, who directs and just throws it incomplete in the direction of Amendola.
That time New England got into their 3 tight end set, Mike. 3 tight ends, 1 running back. That's a running formation. That time they lined up in a no-back set. Buffalo rushed 3, and there's nobody open.
The Bills were asking from their sideline if that should have been intentional grounding. You saw where Amendola was. The ball bounced to him. Brady had moved to the left and was out of the tackle box.
There is no foul for illegal contact defense as the quarterback was out of the pocket when the contact took place. It's an incomplete pass and will be 3rd down New England.
Look at this Buffalo defense. Leotis McKelvin is checked in. How many corners or ex-corners are on the field? Corey Graham. You see Darby, 28. Stephon Gilmore. There are a lot of different coverage people. Nickel Roby, number 37, to match up with these open formations the Patriots like to use.
This is 3rd and 9. Here comes another pressure from the secondary, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Dobson, but the flag comes down. It was Gilmore in coverage on Aaron Dobson.
Well, these blitzes are getting home, Mike. That's the 3rd time Brady's been hit.
Pass interference. Defense, number 24. Spot foul, automatic. First down.
And Buffalo, who leads the league in penalties, commits a big one here. That's Gilmore at right corner. That's clearly a penalty. And watch Nickel Roby at the bottom of the screen. Rex Ryan will rush 4 defenders. You just don't know which 4 they are. So far, I've seen Graham and Roby get home from the Bills secondary.
That's a couple of different times Buffalo thought they had stopped the Patriots, but the drive continues.
Hey, alert! Alert! 52! Alpha!
From the 25, first down, and Brady. Incomplete. Gronkowski was easily covered that time by Rambo, and again, they get to Tom.
Well, Cameron Fleming, the right tackle, has his hands full. He played left tackle last week. He was cut at the end of training camp. And I don't know how you come from the left side to the right side on a weekly basis, but Tom Brady is going to need this running game because Buffalo is putting him to the ground.
Garrett Blunt runs to the left, and he gains about 2 yards. So I think you know Blunt's story. He was in Pittsburgh last year, and he left the field early in that game and then was picked up by New England. Chance to return back to New England. Had 5 very productive games, 3 touchdowns, 148 yards in the championship game. Folks around here knew what he was all about, and Blunt becomes even more important after that injury to Dion Lewis. It'll be split between Blunt, James White, and Brandon Bolden. So it's 3rd and 7 again. This time no pressure. Amendola can't get to the sticks. Pulled down to the 17 by Leotis McKelvin. And we'll get a 35-yard field goal attempt from Gostowski.
Good to see Leotis McKelvin healthy again. He missed the first 6 or 7 games. Number 21 with a beautiful one-on-one tackle against Amendola that sets up Gostkowski. And how good is Stephen Gostkowski, Mike?
That's pretty good, 30 in a row. And you mentioned the game winner for the Pro Bowl kicker last couple of seasons. Brian Allen puts it down. It's a 35-yard field goal attempt. And knocked through. So despite Buffalo getting to Brady, hitting Brady on that drive, still they make enough plays. Bills with a penalty, Pats with a field goal. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. GMC, we are professional grade. Gillette, 25 million guys have switched to the Gillette Flex Ball. Will you? And ESPNFanshop.com, powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. Above here, now inside Gillette Stadium, our coverage tonight from Spider Cam is brought to you by DirecTV. Very impressive. No overcoat for you. 29 degrees. You're toughen up here.
I'm speechless, Mike.
Wait till the second half.
My teeth are chattering here. I'm breaking into the cold.
It was an interesting first drive because you saw so much from Rex Ryan. The Bills held the Patriots to a field goal. The Patriots have to be wondering, you know what, how are we going to manage this the rest of the way? Denarius Moore will return this from a yard deep in the end zone. Very little room. Tremendous special teamer Nate Ebner in on the tackle. It's going to give Tyrod Taylor and the Buffalo offense 87 yards to go. 3-0 Pats. And they're in the lab figuring out what's next. No number 91. Jamie Collins remains out for the 3rd straight week. They're dealing with an illness. He hasn't even been practicing. Yet the Patriots defense came up big in their last performance in this stadium, limiting the Redskins to 10 points. Taylor on first down from the 13. A pass complete to Robert Woods, who works it just near the 21-yard line, marking officially at the 20. So Matt Patricia is the defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. This is the group they're working with. Mentioned Ninkovich and Chandler Jones on the ends. Jonathan Freeney's played a lot more, was a special teamer, now becoming a defensive stalwart. Hightower outstanding, and Malcolm Butler, that Super Bowl hero, keeps making big play after big play. Elevator going up for Malcolm. LaShawn McCoy with the carry. That'll be a first down. Jonathan Freeney makes the tackle. LaShawn McCoy missed a couple of games, John, with that hamstring injury. We were visiting the Bills in training camp the day he hurt that hamstring. Couldn't get right, but now you can see the bye week and the health, back-to-back 112-yard games, but also the dancing that we saw so often with McCoy in Philadelphia.
He's a workhorse back, and he can really catch the football. He's the only guy in the league that's carried it over 300 times the last 2 seasons.
They got their 2 best backs back there together again. McCoy and the rookie Williams. LaShawn will take it to the right. He'll trip over his teammate, and it will be no gain back at the 25.
This is a shotgun operation that Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator of the Bills, utilizes. Roman came here from the 49ers. He had experience with Colin Kaepernick, a mobile running type quarterback, and they rely on Taylor not only as a runner, but as a threat after he hands the ball off. He paralyzes defenses on the backside.
After the gain of 1, here is Taylor. Got a good pocket to throw from. It's another first down. Again, it is Woods. Robert Woods, third year out of Southern Cal. 29 catches coming into tonight. 2 on this drive.
Just a simple hook by number 10, Woods, right over the ball against this zone coverage. Catch it. North-south split defenders get the first down. Good decisive work by Woods. High percentage completion. Another 1st and 10, and Buffalo using a lot of 2 halfback sets, both Carlos Williams and McCoy together in the backfield.
McCoy got a block from Williams, turned it up. That's what I'm talking about. That's the acceleration we saw with Shady McCoy in Philadelphia. Gain of 11 and a Buffalo first down, their 3rd on this drive.
And right corner Malcolm Butler has to make that tackle. Watch here at the bottom of the screen. Malcolm Butler's got to step up, make this tackle. LeSean McCoy running hard tonight as he gets into a rhythm in this Buffalo Bill style of offense. Remember, he played with Andy Reid, then Chip Kelly. Now he's here with Greg Roman. There's not a running play that LeSean McCoy hasn't run.
And most running plays he makes better. A terrific back. There he goes again. The gain of 4 to midfield. Talked about Shady and all the things he did in Philadelphia. He became the all-time leading Eagles rusher, going to the Pro Bowl 3 times with Philadelphia. And those back-to-back 100-yard games that he has coming into tonight, he's never had 103 consecutive games. We visited with him last night. You get the sense of his building comfort with this offense and this system. As you said, a different one for him.
Yes, indeed.
Second and 6, breather for McCoy. Williams will carry, and he will gain 3 yards. What is it that you like about Carlos Williams, John?
He's big. He makes a lot of yards, Mike, and he scores touchdowns every time he plays. I think he scored a touchdown in every game of the year, but he's a completely different sized back. He's got good elusiveness, and he can catch a football as well. They've got 2 all-purpose backs that are talented, and clearly tonight they're using them both together.
Missed 3 games with a concussion. That's why he's still sitting on that record. His first 6 games, this game 10 for the Bills. Chance to break that rookie mark set by Robert Edwards, who was, remember, Patriot fans, injured in that Beach Pro Bowl week accident. Taylor scrambling with the flag down. He's got the first down inside the 40. The safety, Tavon Wilson, got him to 39. But as we said, there's a flag back in the backfield.
Illegal formation. Offense number 66 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty replay. 3rd down.
John, no flags in Buffalo. We've seen that shot a lot when you watch Bills games.
That's ridiculous. It's too late in this season, and Henderson's played too much football to not line up correctly on 3rd down. And it sets up 3rd down and 8. You have to keep an eye at the bottom of the screen of Chandler Jones, number 95. Had a couple sacks against Cordy Glenn in the first matchup.
The best receiving options, all 3 are in that bunch right at the bottom of the screen. Patriots will bring an extra rusher this time. Taylor's got the blocking, but incomplete on the pass for Woods. And after a couple of first downs, Buffalo will punt it away.
Penalties on Henderson. Nullifies a first down. Penalty on Gilmore. Keeps a drive alive that sets up a field goal. You're not going to win in this stadium. I don't know what the Patriots' win-loss record is in this place, but you're not going to beat them if you commit penalties.
It's a lot to a little, especially if you're in the AFC East.
Believe me, I have lived that.
Colton Schmidt only has 1 touchback this year. Heavy rush, no flag. as that ball dies right around the 25-yard line. It's only 27 on the kick. Great pressure from the Pats. Whether as a head coach or a defensive coordinator, the 15th time Rex Ryan goes up against Tom Brady. What did he tell us last night, John? I got to change the picture on him. What does that mean?
Well, he's going to give him some looks that he hasn't seen. He's had 11 days to get ready. I'm going to show 3 rushers at the top of the screen, make Brady send the protection that way, and then bring 2 the other way. He completely fooled Brady with the blitz, but credit to Brady for getting the ball off before the blitz got home. Rex Ryan is going to continue to give Tom Brady different looks. He's going to show pressure and not blitz. He's going to show coverage and then bring blitz. But Tom Brady has his hands full tonight deciphering Rex Ryan's defenses after an 11-day layoff.
It's the second drive for Brady and the Patriots. And on the cross, a ton of room for Brandon LaFell into Buffalo territory. A first down and a gain of 28 yards.
Well, you wanted somebody to step up for Julian Edelman. This is bad defense by Buffalo. It's just a simple, shallow cross. Zone defense, no one covers it. Tom Brady. It just seems he can play with any linemen, any backs, and any receivers every year and get better. Astonishing.
LeGarrette Blount fake to him. Brady the throw to the tight end, Scott Chandler. And we'll give him 3 yards on that. Player familiar to Bills fans. Scott spent the first 4 years of his career in Buffalo.
And the Patriots changing personnel frequently. You see Dobson and Amendola check back into the game. They're using 3 tight ends. They come back with 3 receivers. And Rex Ryan has to counter with multiple secondary people. Here comes Brady.
Saw Sebastian Vollmer, 76. He's been in on this drive, missed last week. Blount is tackled. Good internal pressure from Marcel Darius for the Bills for the loss.
Pro Bowl player. And Darius at the top of the screen rejects this cutback run by LeGarrette Blount. So far, Buffalo has shut down the Patriot running game. And it's 3rd and long. Another blitz disguise.
Listen, Mike. Mike's right. Galaxy. Hey, Brewski. 319. 319.
Well, the hand signals, the pressure comes. Brady just at the bail and get rid of it. And the pass is incomplete. Couldn't account for everyone as Preston Brown was the rusher who came free.
It's an all-out blitz, and Brady thought that Rex was going to bail out. That time, Rex brought it. And Preston Brown, number 52, comes clean right up the middle. And Tom has no chance but to throw the ball away. So far, Rex Ryan is giving Tom Brady every look in the book.
7 coming there. Ryan Allen drops it straight down, trying to make it a tough one for McKelvin to catch. Trying to kill it out of bounds, and it takes a right turn right around the 15-yard line. So that's where Buffalo's 3rd drive will begin with 3 seconds left in this opening quarter. Got to figure out a pressure plan over there on the New England side. Got a tablet for 3 there. You got Belichick, McDaniels, and Brady. Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator. A lot of brain power there trying to figure out all minds, all these looks that Rex Ryan has been giving the New England offense. Trying to sort them out as the game goes on. Look for a tendency. Just 3 seconds remain in the quarter as Buffalo begins its 3rd drive from their own 15-yard line. Tyrod Taylor incomplete for Shady McCoy. Gerard Mayo in the coverage of the quarter comes to an end. After 1 in Foxborough, Pats 3-0.
ESPN, celebrating the legacy of Monday Night Football.
3-0 Patriots as the second quarter begins. He went from undrafted to Super Bowl hero, number 5 corner to number 1 corner, Malcolm Butler. Last week it was following Odell Beckham Jr. And John, as you look at more tape, Malcolm Butler goes a lot of times, not all, but a lot of times where the best receiver goes. Tonight, That's Sammy Watkins.
It's an impressive trait that Butler has, playing star coverage this early in his career.
2nd and 10 as the quarter begins, and LaShawn McCoy only for 2 yards. Tavon Wilson down in the box there, helping in on the tackle.
Well, Beckham got loose for a big play early in the game last week, but he responded down the stretch, and so far against Sammy Watkins tonight, so good. But Buffalo has got to get Sammy Watkins involved in this offense. Only 22 catches. He had 8 a couple weeks ago against the Dolphins. But this is a young man that needs to see the football to recognize his greatness.
This time in this passing situation, more DBs on the field for New England as Taylor is in trouble. Chandler Jones almost gets the sack. Ninkovich chases him. Taylor on the run, throws complete for the first down to Woods at the 34-yard line. That is where he is so good.
That's Russell Wilson. I said it earlier. He reminds me of Wilson. I don't know how he gets out of this. Chandler Jones has him down. Can't get it done. Here's Ninkovich. Can't bring him down, and he has the poise and the talent to make those kind of plays. What a play by Tyrod Taylor when there was nothing there.
Officially to the 35-yard line, so we'll make the gain 18. Buffalo's 4th first down in this first half. It'll be a give. McCoy accelerates, and LaShawn McCoy tackled by Jonathan Freeney. The gain 6 yards there. Well, we talked about Russell Wilson. You mentioned him, John. He and Tyrod Taylor went head-to-head a couple of times. In 2010, with Carolina State, led by Wilson. Good edge with back from the Hokies, led by the quarterback who set the Virginia Tech records. Tyrod Taylor walked out of there with a victory in that head-to-head meeting. And Taylor's been sitting around for 4 years on the bench as a backup, but getting that starting opportunity this year after moving from Baltimore here to Buffalo. But he's missing his rookie right guard for the moment. John Miller, the 3rd-round pick out of Louisville, injured in that last play. Bill's athletic training staff out to look at him. Monday Night Football is brought to you by Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets only at BK. Toyota, let's go places. And NFL.com/now. Watch what's trending in the NFL with the all-new NFL Now. You're seeing some pictures of Joe Cardona, the Patriots rookie long snapper, who also has a job during the week beyond the Pats. Naval Prep Academy in Newport, Rhode Island. Of course, he finished up at the Naval Academy, was a 5th-round pick by the Patriots. Very unique circumstance. When he's not working here, he's working there, honoring his service commitment. Joe Cardona's done a very good job. Of course, the ties with Bill Belichick and his naval background. Cardona drafted and in the league. Well, concern for the Buffalo Bills as John Miller has been lifted onto the cart, and classy the Patriots players as well, as they've gone over along with the Bills. For Miller, I'll show you how this 3rd-round pick from Louisville got injured. There he is, 76. His leg gets whipped there. The leg whip from Hightower. And he was in a great deal of pain as he was down, and they took off that shoe. So the Bills lose one of their starting offensive linemen, John, and Greg Urbik comes into the game in the interior.
It's a big loss. I think general manager Doug Whaley did a great job with his draft choices. They didn't have a 1st-round pick. They got Ron Darby in the 2nd round. He's been a very good corner. Carlos Williams has been a good back, and John Miller has been a starter at right guard. Keep an eye on Urbik at right guard. When I've seen him play, he has struggled this season. Let's see if New England tries to exploit that.
He's been around Buffalo for a long time with starting experience. This is Taylor. His pass is caught by McCoy right near midfield, and Taylor was getting hit as he threw.
Right off that right side, Jabal Sheard, the ex-Cleveland Brown, right in Tyrod Taylor's face. Chantrell Henderson at right tackle, struggling. And Tyrod Taylor showing me something tonight. Scrambling, standing in the pocket, and doing a lot at the line of scrimmage with this Buffalo Bill offense. Audibling, here he goes again.
Shy of midfield, Williams made the first man miss. The backfield, then lost the football and it fell right back on his stomach. Very fortunate to get it back, and the gain is 5. And Dominique Easley saw that carrot out there.
Cold night. Ball security. Got to emphasize it. Both these teams have taken care of the football. They're plus in the turnover ratio. Big reason why they're playing good football.
Bills have turned it over 11 times in 9 games. Patriots just 7 thus far this year. McCoy trying to get to the edge. Woods does a really nice job. Just a standoff by the wide receiver blocking allows McCoy to get the first down.
You said it, Mike. What a job by Robert Woods. It's hard to motivate your wide receivers to block at the point of attack like Woods. Take a look at number 10 on the left side of your screen. Blocking Tavon Wilson, sustaining the block and allowing LeSean McCoy to stretch the ball to the perimeter. That's impressive.
He said it this week, John. I know my role. It's blocking. Only been targeted 8 times in the last 100+ snaps. Taylor, a throw complete. And it is McCoy on the catch. So they're using LeSean a lot. First down gain, just over 4 yards.
That's where I want to see more of LeSean McCoy utilized in the passing game. He can line up as a receiver in these no-back formations and kill you in one-on-one situations. Nice work by Greg Roman, using a lot of different personnel groupings and formations.
Chris Hogan, 15 in the game. They backed him off the line to get everybody properly aligned. Just a short gain of a couple of yards there for Carlos Williams. You mentioned all the different things Roman likes to do.
I don't know how he calls the game, Mike. He's got all these different running plays. Inside zone, zone reads, gap runs, traps, perimeter tosses. I can talk about his running game all night. Draws, direct quarterback runs. I mean, I don't know what, look at this menu of plays he's got. I don't know, he's got to have a Rolodex or something to figure out which play to get to next. It's a collage of offense. His background is vast.
Maybe why it's taken some time to get better in terms of the diversity as the season has gone on. Play clock running down, 3rd and 4. And Taylor with the shot for Hogan, broken up by Chung, and incomplete, almost intercepted on the deflection by Deron Harmon.
Well, Tyrod Taylor's got to make this throw to beat Tom Brady on the road. Hogan is running by Chung, and Taylor underthrew him. Good no call. Poorly thrown football by Tyrod Taylor. Hogan had a couple steps against Patrick Chung.
See the ball hits Chung, even though he doesn't go back to acknowledge the ball. That allows the no pass interference. It turns into a long field goal attempt of 52 yards for Dan Carpenter. That is pure on this chilly night. So the Bills drive it down the field, starting at their own 15. They get a field goal to square the game at 3. Bills have 3, could have had 7, John.
Got to make these throws. The protection is excellent. And watch Hogan in the slot. He's going to run right by Chung on this swing route. Taylor's got to make this play, Mike, and he knows it.
Fortunate on that deflection. Harmon just couldn't secure it. Doesn't turn into a pick, and it gives Carpenter the chance on this cold night to bang a 52-yarder. That is with the breeze. Breeze is going left to right as you watch. And the Bills carry 2 place kickers. Jordan Gay is the kickoff specialist for that reason. Touchback. Back to Brady's bunch from the 20 in a moment. Well, here at Patriot Place, there's been some milestones in that Patriots Hall of Fame for Tom Brady, but how about the real Hall of Fame? Dominance over one team. Dan Marino, 72 touchdowns against the Jets is most. Brady, 61 against these Bills is second. One more than Favre over the Chicago Bears. And Tom Brady, 11 more to get to in his career against Buffalo to be number 1 against one team by a quarterback. It's a run with Brandon Bolden for first down here, and right now they're not close to any of that, John, as New England doesn't have the answer offensively to the Rex Riddle.
I don't think New England knows who they want to be on their offensive line. It's another lineup change. I see Stork in the game now, number 66. He's playing center for Andrews. Andrews hadn't missed a snap at center all year, and Mason just checked into left guard. I don't know who's coming and going for New England up front.
3 drives, 3 different setups up front. They're very versatile. Brady has no one open and just gets rid of it, incomplete. And it will be 3rd down. Dave DeGuglielmo is the offensive line coach. Dante Scarnecchia was here for a long time. This group, because of injuries, John, and their versatility, used many different combinations this year.
Many, not one starter right now from last year's Super Bowl. I have no idea why Andrews was pulled out of the football game, but clearly Rex Ryan has the Patriot offensive line in a state of confusion.
We saw at the end of the last drive, Brady was very unhappy with the O-line. It's a 3rd and 10 run, and it'll be short of the first down with James White. So Buffalo gets a 3 and out on this drive, their best defensive showing so far. And New England's back to the drawing board here.
Have not seen a 3rd and 9 inside handoff from Tom Brady in a while. They have to find 5 linemen that can stay healthy and play down the stretch, or Tom Brady's going to have to make some major adjustments.
Not a good kick into the wind by Ryan Allen. It'll get us some roll. It was going to end up being a 41-yard kick down to the 31-yard line. That's where the Bills will take over. 3-3 game. Kick again, John. 2nd possession. Tom Brady's gone over. Frustrated with the offensive line play. They do not have their act together right now to figure out what Rex Ryan's trying to do.
Well, they've had 2 false starts. They haven't run the ball. They've made some mistakes and massive substitutions already here early in the 2nd quarter.
By stopping them 3 and out, this is the best Buffalo field position of this night. Bills take over at their own 31 in a 3-3 game. LeSean McCoy and they run out of the shotgun. Gained just a couple of yards. John, I really love the fact that Mayo's playing and playing well. I mentioned earlier the dwindling snaps, under 50 in the last 3 games total. But this is a veteran who's been a captain here who knows when it's my time to play my role, I'm going to play it to my best.
And you got to tip your hat to a veteran player who has helped Freeney, his replacement, learn his defense. 5 years in a row he had over 100 tackles, and he's responsible for helping number 55 Freeney find his niche here in New England. What a team player.
Charles Clay quiet so far. 85 the tight end, block Hightower, but Hightower pops off that block, minimizes the McCoy gain, and we'll have 3rd down coming up.
A lot of specialization in this Patriot defense. They use a lot of different personnel, different defensive tackles. Number 72, Akeem Hicks, the ex-New Orleans Saint, acquired in a trade. He's a run stuffer. And on 3rd down, they bring in their 1st-round picks. Easily, number 99, Malcolm Brown, number 90. They use a lot of different bodies creatively to do what they do best.
And Chandler Jones has started this week atop the league list, 10.5 sacks. He's dropping in coverage here as Taylor on the run throws incomplete. Tried to get it to Robert Woods again. Hightower was putting on the heat. Logan Ryan had the coverage, and it's punting time.
I like Logan Ryan, the ex-Rutgers performer. He leads the Patriots with 4 interceptions, Mike. He quietly has come around. I thought New England would be in trouble without Revis and Browner, but man, if these young corners stepped up for Bill Belichick.
When at Colton Schmidt's back, another good rush on him. He gets this one away. Sending Amendola back after the 60-yard kick, and from the 6 he returns it only to the 13-yard line. Duke Williams, the safety, on the tackle. Back here in New England, the current 53-man roster, that's excluding the players who are on IR, there's not one first-rounder on the offensive side of the ball for New England. Go back a bit to find the last time they took one of those edge guys, skill guy, a receiver, a running back, a tight end. Lawrence Maroney was the last one in 2006. He had some productive years big touchdown season, 21 total, as a matter of fact, in his 4 years that he played with New England, but didn't really pan out the way you thought a first-rounder might. They've had Brady for all these years, but they haven't brought in those great players in terms of first-round draft picks around him. Underneath, it is caught by Amendola, who gets out of bounds, a yard shy of the first down at the 22-yard line. And, John, here we are again in that mode with New England. It is the players that they bring in from different places. They don't get caught under a huge contract with many guys. They find ways to find the answers within their roster by developing guys in this system.
Credit Bill Belichick. He's only interested in the present.
2nd and 1 to the air to Gronk. Couldn't bring it in. Play was negated earlier because of offsetting fouls. Was a pass Gronkowski had in his hands and then didn't catch. Can't get that one. It's 3rd and 1.
Ball thrown just outside the cylinder of Gronkowski's reach, setting up a short yardage situation.
Offensive line, by the way, same group as the last drive. And they clear enough space for the first down on the ground with Brandon Bolden as he takes it across the 25-yard line.
Well, it's just a zone stretch play right off the right side, and Bolden, who's been in his Patriot offense for a while, presses it right off the right side behind Cannon and Sebastian Vollmer. Nice block by Williams, number 85. First down, Patriots.
Jim Stork in at center on this drive. Brady on play action, nothing open deep. Scrambles and gets rid of it as he is out of the tackle box. No grounding, but 2nd down.
This Corey Graham of the Buffalo Bills is very interesting. The ex-corner of the Baltimore Ravens, converted to safety, puts a lick on Brady. Graham leads the Bills in tackles. He had a concussion in the opener against the Colts. Wasn't out long. This is one tough customer, a perfect Rex Ryan defender that's really improved his communication with Aaron Williams, their other safety, out for a while.
Their number 1 safety had that neck injury, came back for a bit, now on injured reserve, designated to return, can come back in mid-December. Brady, similar looking play over the top, toss to the middle, great catch. Aaron Dobson in traffic, comes up gingerly, but has the first down at the 43-yard line.
Boy, great catch and great throw in a tight window. I just talked about Graham, number 20. They wish they had him in the post. Poorly played by Rambo in the middle of the field.
And Dobson is getting looked at by the training staff. We talked about the Patriots not taking receivers or running backs or tight ends in the first round. Dobson was taken in the 2nd round a couple of years ago, his 3rd year out of Marshall. And 37 catches early on, but had that foot problem back in 2014. And the Patriots, who saw Julian Edelman injure his foot last week. A couple of weeks ago, it was Dion Lewis. Now see Dobson come off slowly.
And we're going to have to look for Chris Harper, Mike, number 14. Just activated off the practice squad. At some point, we may see.
There he is, 14 right there. He's
there
been
he
in a
is.
couple of times already.
They're going to need Harper to step up. They have that saying here, like everywhere we go, next man up. Harper in the slot at the bottom of the screen.
4 receivers now available to the Patriots with the injury to Dobson. Matthew Slater, the great special teamer, being one of the 4. So after the catch by Dobson, New England has it at its own 42. And Brady just aborts that screen attempt with Bolden. John, Buffalo seems to have the answers right now. When we talked to Rex Ryan last night, there was a confidence about the plan for tonight and how they were going to give Brady different looks and keep them off balance. And so far, Rex has got to feel really good about the way this first half has gone.
He's got a lot of corners that can cover. That time he's used Stephon Gilmore to cover Gronkowski. We talked about that in the pregame. He feels good about his edge corners against anybody New England has.
And New England's talent on those edges not the same with the injuries. Brady underneath, Amendola, an umbrella of Bills waiting to bring him down, and they do at the 46-yard line.
Rex Ryan mixing it up. That time, a 3-man rush. And it's 8 men in coverage. He's showing an inside blitz. But he's going to rush 3 Buffalo Bills, and right after the catch, Buffalo Bills are everywhere. Is it a blitz? Is it a bluff? You be the judge.
Brandon Bolden lost his shoe. He came out on that play. 3rd and 6. Gronkowski into block. Brady has nobody open, and Matty Lawson brings him down, but a flag comes down right by the sack spot.
They bluff the blitz. They fool the Patriots again, and Tom Brady can't be happy.
Holding. Offense number 76. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Showing an all-out blitz. The inside linebackers will bluff, and Vollmer, who has been hurt, gets beat by Manny Lawson, a jack of all trades for Buffalo.
Former first-round pick of the 49ers. Good pressure by H.A. Tarpley. Almost got to that punt. Fair catch signaled for and made on the dive as the punt was stopped up there in the wind by Leotis McKelvin. The #1 scoring offense in the National Football League, the New England Patriots, limited to 3 in this first half. Time to come down. Good to turn the Monday night lights on some of the prep heroes and stars. How about Zavarian Brothers, the high school private Catholic all-boys school, Westwood, Mass. Undefeated season is rolling. They had a chance to check out the hall, that great Patriot Place hall. We be Malcolm Butler for a moment. Virtual reality, if you will, and make the pick like Malcolm did. Zavarian's undefeated. They've got their annual Thanksgiving week game at Fenway Park against St. John's Prep, and then play in the Division I championship against Central Catholic here at Gillette Stadium on December 5th. Folks in this area, it's a great day of prep football. Hope you can get out here and enjoy it. LaShawn McCoy on that first down carry to the 23-yard line. We mentioned that they're playing at Fenway Park. They reconfigured Fenway for that Notre Dame-Boston College game on Saturday. Some high schools are getting their opportunity to play games there. There's a hurling competition there yesterday at Fenway, so it's been a great football weekend here in New England this Thanksgiving weekend.
What an experience that would be to play in Fenway.
Hey, your son played in Yankee Stadium, right? When
Yes, he
Lafayette
did.
Lehigh played last year.
Big win for the Leopards.
2nd and 5 for Tyrod Taylor and the Bills. Virtually even game in terms of yards so far. McCoy has been the main cog in this offense. Jamal Sheard comes up and makes that play. It'll be 3rd down.
Jamal Sheard is a good player. He's versatile. He can play right end, left end. You can put him inside over the guard. They gave him an $11 million contract to come in here and be a versatile Bill Belichick, New England Patriot. 4 sacks. He's been very productive. 3rd and 4. Where is Sammy Watkins of the Buffalo Bills?
Top of the screen in this 4-wide setup is Watkins. Taylor.
Boy.
Wide open Hogan. That time he catches it into Bills territory, into Pat's territory at the 45-yard line.
Somebody blew a coverage. No one covered Hogan. Second time he's been behind the Patriots secondary. This time Taylor didn't miss him.
31 yards on the grab by Chris Hogan, and the Bills driving at the 2-minute warning. 3-3. The Patriots have scored in every quarter this season since the first quarter of the first game against Pittsburgh. That streak in jeopardy. Now Bill Belichick in this Patriots defense trying to find a way to stop Buffalo. Last time the drive started at the 15. They walked it down and able to get a field goal to tie the game. This drive starting at the 18-yard line with Buffalo's opportunity to maybe take a halftime lead going in. Tyrod Taylor on first down, 2nd consecutive catch for Hogan. This one's a gain of 9 after the big one of 31 a moment ago.
Well, Malcolm Butler blew a coverage. When you have deep third, you have to play deep third. Watch him jump Sammy Watkins on this under route. And Hogan runs right in to the area that Butler should be covering. Got to do your job. Didn't get it done that time.
Minute 55, both teams full complement of timeouts here. At the end of the half, McCoy running to the left, going to get the first down. Logan Ryan over there to finally push him out of bounds. Richie Incognito was out there pulling and leading the way.
Excuse me, Mike. I just can't reiterate enough how well these young corners have played overall for New England. I know Butler just had a blown coverage there, but when you lose Darrelle Revis and Brandon Browner and Arrington off a Super Bowl championship team and go 9-0 with Logan Ryan and Butler and a lot of young guys stepping up, it's a credit to them.
First and 10. And Taylor with a lot of time sings it over the middle, complete for the first down. No, Woods, no, it's going to be incomplete. It was Tavon Wilson with the hit that jarred it from Woods.
Big hit by Wilson. That's what you have to do in the middle of the field. Playing zone coverage, you key the quarterback, you read his eyes, and when that ball leaves his hands, you break on it. Nice job separating Woods from the football. Second and long. What is the protection plan for Chandler Jones? Leads the NFL in sacks. They need something from Jones right here.
Second and 10. New England shows pressure, brings 4, and throws the other way to Hogan. He's wrestled down at the 30. Very active half for Tavon Wilson. The last time we had New England on a Monday night, it was that game in Kansas City. Remember when all the questions came afterwards about what's wrong with Brady and the Patriots? Yeah. Well, that's the last time they had such a struggle putting points up. Shut out in that first half. Sitting on 3 here with Buffalo running the clock with 1:12 remaining. So Hogan has caught 3 on the drive. Sammy Watkins yet to be targeted. 3rd and 6 for Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo. Pats now bring pressure and bring 5. Taylor steps up, launches it for McCoy, who couldn't hang on as he went to the ground to try to secure it. Devin McCourty had the hit last, and McCoy slow to get up.
Had McCoy running free, and what a range play by McCourty. Devin McCourty from his free safety position took the perfect angle to break up this pass. You can't play it any better than McCourty just played that. Tyrod Taylor thought he had a slam dunk touchdown. McCoy is running wide open by himself, and out of nowhere flashed McCourty.
McCoy's trying to tell the athletic training staff he's okay. Don't help me walk off. He's coming to the sideline. Meantime, with the wind at his back, it's a wind that's around 10 miles per hour as it picks up. But certainly with the wind, Carpenter will try a 48-yard field goal for the go-ahead. He made one from 52 going in this direction earlier in this half. Harrison Sanborn snaps it to Colton Schmidt. Off the upright. And no good.
And Brady's in business with good field position.
Plenty of juice on it, just moving left to right. Caught a little bit more of that inside portion of the right upright. Might have ricocheted back in. Instead, it's out, and as you said, John, the Patriots take over at the spot where Carpenter's kick was attempted from. The 38, and they've got Gostowski, so they might end up taking the lead to the locker room. But they've got to find a way to pick up some first downs. Let's see if the 2-minute offense helps Brady. Pass incomplete. LaFell is the only receiver in the area. Again, nobody open.
This is a three-man rush, Mike. There's 8 Buffalo Bills in coverage. They show blitz. They show the illusion of pressure, and they bail out of there and play maximum zone. They've got 8 Bills in coverage against 5 Patriot receivers. And as soon as you think they're bailing, Rex Ryan brings it. And so far, Brady has had no success deciphering if it is or isn't.
Second and 10. Here comes the pressure again underneath. It's Amendola. Stop on a dime. Cut up the field. Into Buffalo territory. Thrown down at the 44. And a timeout taken with 33 seconds remaining. That's in good shape. After that play to Danny Amendola of 18. We've got the Toyota halftime coming up in a moment. Boomer's final drive will include a look at the top 2 teams in the NFC. We'll get Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter's insider updates. It will include an update on Peyton Manning and the latest with his foot injury. The guys are on that. Of course, next week, the Patriots will play the Bills. Or will play the Broncos, I should say. And this Patriots-Bills game looked like it was going to be one of 2 back-to-back primetime games, a precursor for Manning-Brady number 17 in their meetings all time. But with the announcement from Denver that it'll be Brock Osweiler again this week for the Broncos, it will be Brady Osweiler 1 instead. From the 44. Final half minute. Here comes late pressure to Brady. Throws in the middle. It's held onto by Brandon LaFell at the 21-yard line.
What a great catch by LaFell. Another 3-man rush. And New England in field goal position.
Second timeout taken by the Patriots. 27 seconds to go. Just as we came back, Gene Steratore announced that the previous play is under review. New England was the team that took the timeout. And again, last 2 minutes, all reviews initiated from upstairs in the booth. We'll take a look. On that rollover, it's the whole process of the LaFell catch. He's got to secure it at some point. There's a good look in. See, the ball has not touched the ground at all. And then as you continue on the replay, as he rolls over, he's still got to finish it when he gets to the other side here on his back. He gets that hand on it. So as Gene Steratore takes a look in consultation with New York, we'll step out. Patriots with that first down at the Buffalo 20 with 27 seconds and a timeout left. You see Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady discussing their strategy. John, this drive is the best portion of the game for the New England offense as we wait to see if this one holds up or not.
Buffalo using a 3-man pass rush. I think LaFell caught that football, Mike, but
I think the question, John, is on the very end as he goes onto his back the second time around and rolls over. Does the ball come in contact with the ground, and in any way does he lose control? That's where the only question you could have at this point would be. Here is the catch by LaFell. Might be a stance. And Gene Steratore has the ruling.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It is a completing pass. First down, New England.
He got on his back, and as he rolled over, the ball does come in contact with the ground. So hard to tell if his hand came off and looking in from both sides. So it'll stand, and it's at the 20 for the Patriots in first down.
I'll be shocked if Rex Ryan doesn't blitz here. He's used a 3-man rush. Tom Brady has a couple completions. He's had plenty of time to think about which blitz to call. Expect heat.
Interesting here, really using the width of the field as the motion comes to bring White into the backfield.
Easy. I want 53 and 52.
On first down, they do bring 3. Brady had to get out of there and throws it incomplete as he just eluded the rush with Mario Williams in pursuit.
When you let all your backs have free releases, you've only got 5 protectors. And you hear Tom Brady up there saying 53-52. So the offensive linemen are blocking the 3 down linemen and the linebackers that Brady points out. Problem is, sometimes you have 90 numbers playing linebacker, 20 numbers playing linebacker. It's been a state of confusion so far.
Here, Brady continuing to spend extra time here, making sure the protections are all secure. Pocket collapses on him there, and he throws it incomplete as one more time he gets hit. That has been the story of this first half, that pressure from Buffalo. 3rd and 10.
I like what I'm seeing from Buffalo. Mario Williams, Manny Lawson, Hughes. This is a high-priced pass rush unit, and they're paid for these kinds of situations. And Marcel Darius with inside penetration as well. They need this unit to capitalize with all these backup linemen playing for the Patriots.
3rd and 10 again. New England has a timeout left. Free runner. Brady gets rid of it. Complete. White with the first down inside the 10 and into the end zone. The missed tackle turns into a Patriots touchdown.
The one time you blitz Tom Brady, he rips you. Nickel Roby comes off the slot. Tom Brady in his new 3rd down 2-minute back. Read it perfectly. You're going to see the blitz come right off your right side. Brady reads it perfectly. Throws the ball to his hot receiver. And Corey Graham can't make the open field one-on-one tackle. Beautiful stiff arm. James White, the ex-4th round pick. They needed him to step up, and so far, he's made a couple nice plays tonight. What a drive by New England.
Sikowski for the extra point. Snap handled well by Ryan Allen. Held at bay all half until that final snap. You can see the frustration of Rex Ryan. I feel like you've seen this movie so many times. Rex Ryan's giving him confusion, giving him troubles. And what happens at the end? The missed field goal by Carpenter gives good field position. And against the 3-man rush, Brady's able to hit a couple of passes to get downfield. Completions of 18, 24, and 20. And Rex Ryan has been barking up and down the sideline this entire minute since the touchdown was scored. For James White, 2nd year out of Wisconsin, first time in the end zone in his NFL career. Bouncing ball is hopped on by Buffalo's Booby Dixon, who's knocked out of bounds with 8 seconds left.
Well, Mike, when you blitz, somebody has to cover the back. I don't know if Rex is upset with Corey Graham for not getting down in coverage, or maybe Mario Williams is supposed to peel on White, but that's too much space for any kind of blitz to work. And Rex Ryan is not happy. It's either Graham or Mario Williams. Somebody didn't do what they're supposed to do, and you make a mistake against Tom Brady, that's what happens. You throw your headsets. You don't go into the locker room in a good mood. I wouldn't want to be Lisa Salters having to interview him.
I just point out, Gene Steratore stopped that snap from happening because Matthew Slater, the special teams Pro Bowler for the Patriots, was hurt on that kickoff to start, or to end, I should say, the first half. The start of the second half, we'll see New England get the ball. And they scored before the half and get the ball. Always seems to work out the Patriot way. They're up 10-3. Here's Chris Berman with the Toyota halftime.
All right, Michael, thank you very much.
Very interesting half for, about 28 minutes of it. Buffalo's pressure getting to Brady. Tom was frustrated about what was going on. But then it turns on one play. Brady gets it to the 60th different man he's throwing a touchdown to, James White. And it's Rex, not suitable for lip reading again, and frustrated. It is 10-3. New England on top of Buffalo. Welcome back to Foxborough, halfway between Providence and Boston. Third quarter, Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters on this cold night. The numbers here at the break, really, they've gotten away from the running game on the New England side, John. 8 rushes for those 16 yards. Pretty even. Look at the time possession way down there. I'm short enough I can get down there. Big advantage for Buffalo. However, the big play happens. Buffalo doesn't take care of the opportunity. As we look at our Zale extraordinary moments, it's Buffalo's inability to make an extraordinary thing happen that has them down 7 at the break.
They've had plenty of opportunities, Mike. They're only 7 points down early in the game. They throw the ball to Gronkowski, and Rambo intercepts and returns it 40 yards, but it gets called back. They have Hogan wide open down the field. Tyrod Taylor underthrew it. Then they got McCoy wide open down the field, and Tyrod got hit as he threw it. McCourty broke it up, and right before the half, you miss a field goal, and Tom Brady gets great field position. You see the frustration in Rex Ryan. Someone blew a coverage. Graham or Mario Williams really upset him. He's got to regain his composure. They're 7 points down. They moved the ball. Hard to get over, though. They had plenty of chances in that first half, Mike.
If you're on the New England side, do you feel any better about what happened at the end of that drive? Because there was real frustration on that side for the whole first half.
I feel really good, getting some confidence. We pass protected better. Got to find a running game, and have to find 5 linemen that Tom Brady can count on the rest of this game and the season.
Jordan Gay, the kickoff specialist, will kick it. No return coming from Patrick Chung. Here's Lisa Salters on those cold sidelines.
Yeah, Mike, well, I was nervous heading into that walk-off conversation with Rex Ryan. He said, yeah, I'm upset, to say the least. He said, we missed that tackle that led to the touchdown. We missed chances for big plays. We should be up in this game, and now we're down. I said, how do you pull it together, regain your composure? He said, we've just got to move on and then come out and show what we're made of. I then asked him, how about how the defense has been confusing Tom Brady so far? And he said, hey, it doesn't matter if we're confusing him. We still got to tackle. Mike?
That missed tackle and the missed pickup, as you said, John, in that coverage allows the Patriots to score before the break, and they get the ball to start the second half. Why they defer and succeed so often. There's a flag down as Amendola slides down with a gain of a yard. Remember, Aaron Dobson hurt his ankle in the first half for New England. Injury on the opposite side with Buffalo, and their offensive guard, their rookie John Miller, who injured his ankle, was carted off.
Defense number 91 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, replay. First down.
Rob Gronkowski, always in the mix, but John, very little tonight. Just that one grab for 10 yards and not even targeted very often.
Buffalo is not playing man-to-man coverage, Mike. They're playing a lot of different kinds of zone. Sometimes just a 3-man rush with 8 defenders in zone coverage.
It's 1st and 5 after the flag. Brady goes over the top. Great job by Amendola to bring it in with the fingertips in front of Preston Brown, and that's a New England first down.
I really like Danny Amendola. He's stepping in the slot, critical role for Julian Edelman. Nice catch away from his body.
Olay! What? Move out, Danny!
First down for the 31, right back to the air. Nothing open. Brady pressured by Hughes, got away, now throws it away. It's caught by Amendola. Was he out of bounds first? There was a whistle there as he got to the sideline.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, was he out of bounds first?
I didn't think so.
Neither did I on the throw, and I thought he was just flicking it to throw it away, and then Amendola broke free. Go back and look at this. Gene Steratore and Gary Arthur, the line judge, discuss what happened there on that Bills sideline.
That's an inadvertent whistle, I think, Mike.
No, he's in bounds, and so is Amendola.
They're going to have to give Bill Belichick a good explanation on this one.
Everybody looking up at the replay here. It's very clear to see to them. Nobody went out of bounds, even Amendola on the front.
Might have been a touchdown.
Because he was breaking free, exactly.
70-yard touchdown is what we're talking about here.
And the play would be a do-over, essentially, in an inadvertent whistle decision. And, John, let's talk about that in the back end of it, the clear field that was out there.
Tom Brady keeps the play alive. He's scrambling to his right. Amendola at the bottom of the screen never goes out of bounds, Mike.
Nope, he's in.
And I think Danny Amendola might score here. Has a chance for a big play.
And you hear the whistle there as he comes towards the sideline. And the longer the conference goes on, the more frustrated the fans get. Here's Gene Steratore.
The ruling on the field is that when the receiver caught the football, there was an inadvertent whistle by an official on the field. By rule, the ball is dead at the spot of where the reception was made. That is where the receiver gained possession when the whistle was blown. There was also a foul for interference with the coach from the Buffalo sideline. That 15-yard penalty is going to be added to the 45-yard line as within the spot where the inadvertent whistle took place. It will be first down New England on the Buffalo 40.
Belichick tell everyone, stop booing because we want to jump this ball and go with the momentum here. You saw Rex Ryan. It may have been by the official who blew the inadvertent whistle. In any case, what could have been a touchdown does become a big gain for New England. And interesting what he said, as Jerry Austin's with us here in the booth, the two-time Super Bowl referee, that the ball's dead as the spot of the whistle was where the catch was made, because you couldn't presume that he was going to catch it if the whistle came before the grab. 14 on the pass, 15 on the penalty. First down for Brady. Play action, looking for a shot downfield. Breaking free, LaFell, and he couldn't get it to him. That pass incomplete, as Brady couldn't get it there because he was knocked down. We talk about that inadvertent whistle, and let's watch here as Rex Ryan's over there by the line judge. And Rex is on the white there, and that's why I guess the official said that he interfered with what he was trying to do, and he's the one who blew the inadvertent whistle. Let me bring in Jerry for your thoughts.
The key thing is, when did the inadvertent whistle occur? If it occurred while the ball's in the air, it's a do-over play. They said it occurred after there was possession. And if that was the case, then interference by the coach is out of it because it's a dead ball.
It's interesting. So you see the line judge on the left side by Rex Ryan puts the whistle up to his mouth.
And the ball's still in the air.
He blows it there while the ball is in the air. So the Patriots were wronged on the play. There's no doubt about that, because they should have had a huge gain, if not a touchdown. In any case, it's 3rd and 6. And Brady saw the pressure come right up the middle from Nigel Bradham, and it's incomplete. And that'll only frustrate these fans more, and understandably so, because they had a big play taken away.
Hard to figure out which way to send your protection. And Nigel Bradham, inside linebacker, unaccounted for, and this Patriot offensive line continues to struggle outside of that one drive at the end of the first half, Mike.
Well, again, using the wind and going in this direction, looking for the field goal attempt. Right now they have 10 on the field with the play clock down at 8. And this is already a 54-yard attempt for Gostowski. Cameron Fleming runs out, and you hate to have to use a timeout in this situation, but Bill Belichick does so, try to get the points on the board. Just, John, that's one of those, again, bizarre plays that you never see, except, of course, this year when you see everything, it feels like, that the Buffalo side has reason to be upset, because if it was an inadvertent whistle while the ball was in the air, it was ruled, as you heard in the announcement, that it was an inadvertent whistle after the catch. But the New England fans had every right to be furious, and the Patriots themselves, of what, Leak, you said could have been a touchdown.
Inadvertent whistle. Somebody made a mistake on the field. We have enough officials. That can't happen. But here's Gostkowski, Mike, and he's made so many field goals in a row. It's unbelievable. And many of these kicks are over 50 yards. I think he's hit his last 8 over 50.
It's 1 from 54. And that one, like Carpenter's, drifts to the right and is no good. So it remains 10-3. Continuing theme here tonight, the animated Rex Ryan aggravated, this time with the officials. He's still mad over the 15-yard penalty he was assessed for interfering with the officials on the white there on the sideline when the inadvertent whistle happened. The other side, the New England side, is the one that should be more angry. Buffalo gets it back at its own 44-yard line. Tyrod Taylor, first down, shot downfield for Sammy Watkins, is underthrown, incomplete, as he is throwing it into the wind, and Malcolm Butler is there in coverage.
Tyrod Taylor has been a good deep ball passer this year. I think Watkins is running right by Malcolm Butler again. Ball's poorly thrown. Got to give Watkins a chance to go up and play the football down the field. So far, he's been invisible in this football game.
First time they went his way. Opening target of the game. The man who's expressed that frustration earlier this year, he said, I expect to be targeted 10 times a game. Second down, Taylor was flushed. LaShawn McCoy has a first down. Mayo pushed him out of bounds, but a gain of 11 out of the backfield for Shady McCoy.
Taylor looking deep again for his tight end, Charles Clay. The coverage down the field holds up, and Taylor has a presence to get to his check down. Right side of your screen, number Charles Clay. That's where Tyrod Taylor wants to go. But he flushes outside the pocket. He checks the ball down, and there's LaShawn McCoy. First down, Bills.
See that right guard, 60 for Buffalo. Craig Urbick still in. John Miller was carted off with an ankle injury in the first half. Another throw for Taylor, and this one is caught by Charles Clay. They've not gone to him very often. That's the top pass catcher on this Buffalo team with 40.
Jerome Felton did an excellent job picking up this blitz against Hightower on the right side of your screen. And I like Tyrod Taylor here. Give your receivers a chance to go play the ball. Great work by Clay, the leading receiver of this Bill offense. The ex-Miami Dolphin rarely comes off the field, and he's paid huge dividends for the Bills.
Also his first target of the game. Yields a catch of 14. McCoy running to the right, 28-yard line. John, they've done this a bunch in the first half. What you always called rocket backs when you were calling the plays in Philadelphia. Put your two halfbacks in the game together.
Yeah, I used to call rocket, and our two tailbacks would run out there together.
They were good tailbacks, too.
Yeah. Then when I took Ricky Waters out of the game, he got all upset. So we never took Ricky out of the game again. But I like what Greg Roman's doing. Use your two halfbacks. Here they are. McCoy on your left. There's Carlos Williams, a rookie on the right. There's a lot of deception that they can create with these two halfbacks in the game together.
Williams leads the way. McCoy accelerates inside the 10. LaShawn McCoy reaching for the pylon.
Give it to him.
Was he inbounds? They say they'll stop him at the 1. It'll be first and goal.
They run a sweep right off the right side. And Carlos Williams can become the lead blocker. Right there at the front side pylon. I thought he got in.
Let's see, he's going to stretch it out and reach.
I say give it to him, Mike.
It is ruled a touchdown now on the field. Just now, they have ruled touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be close. So the consultation happened with the two officials as that replay was being shown. Even by the second replay, you could hear the reaction.
The previous play is under review.
By calling touchdown, it allows them to go right away to replay and get the automatic review of the call. And I think we'll be looking closely at the elbow of McCoy on the sideline as he was reaching toward the pylon. Ruled for the moment a Shady McCoy touchdown run of 27 yards. The touchdown on the field. And Gene Steratore will have the call here.
After the review, the ruling on the field stands. The runner lands on the defender's hand. His knee hits his hand, not down. The ball breaks the play and the ruling stands. Touchdown, Buffalo.
And the Bills are an extra point away from tying the game. It's officially a 27-yard return. So there were the knees on the hand. And we were watching the elbow closely, that right elbow of McCoy's. Look at that knee there. You see it gave him the space to reach. That's right when he's touching pylon cam, and the pylon itself, actually. So the touchdown stands, and Carpenter adds the extra point. So instead of the big play for New England, there could have been a touchdown to make it 17-3. That inadvertent whistle, it comes back the other way. The missed field goal by Gostowski, who had not missed a home field goal in 52 consecutive tries before that. And McCoy gets the 27-yard score on John, what I thought was a good drive by Buffalo to tie the game at 10-10.
Got to credit Rex Ryan and the Bills for keeping their composure. A lot of adversity before the half. Everybody screaming, yelling. They come out here. They get a key stop after the inadvertent whistle, and Tyrod Taylor takes them right down the field. Buffalo is a quick strike offense, Mike. They don't score very often in the red zone. They come from outside the red zone with these big plays. Important now that New England can solve this Buffalo defense because they have hit Tom Brady 9 times already.
And that's what Rex Ryan told us before the game. That was part of their story, to change the picture, to try to get to Brady. And give me an assessment of what you've seen here through the first 2 quarters plus.
Well, Buffalo's not playing man-to-man tonight. They're playing a lot of zone and different kinds of zone. Some of it is zone pressure. And they have taken Rob Gronkowski out of the game. The Patriots have been unable to run the football. And I'm confused who's playing what position on this Patriot offensive line.
Jordan Gabe with the kickoff. Can't get to the goal line here. It's fielded up front by the big tight end, Michael Williams, and he's brought down just across the 20-yard line. So it will be Tom Brady's ball there. Let's go back one more time, and you can listen for the whistle on that inadvertent whistle. As you saw the play, Rex Ryan didn't seem to get in the way of the line judge at that point, which is the 15-yard flag he complained about. Now let's listen. That whistle was before the catch, and Amendola had a ton of green grass ahead of him. Looked like he could have taken that the distance. Brady and the Patriots take over from the 22, and that is incomplete, intended for Gronkowski.
I like this Darby. He's just a rookie out of Florida State. Came into the game with 12 passes broken up. And the cold weather doesn't bother the ex-Florida State Seminole. Nice job driving on the throw. And again, Rob Gronkowski been awfully quiet tonight.
Second and 10, LeGarrette Blount running to the left. New England has not done much running. And he is taken to the sideline by the corner, Stephon Gilmore. John, that's just the 9th run here for New England. And we've seen this a lot from this Patriots team. Not just what the game plan is, but also what the defense is giving you, and they'll adjust on the fly. Right now it's 28 pass attempts, and now 10 running plays with that one.
Well, I've seen New England throw it over 60 times in a couple different football games already. And once again, it's a confusion look from the Buffalo Bills. Nobody in a stance.
Amendola in motion. It's 3rd and 5. Brady climbs the pocket, releases downfield, and what a breakup by Gilmore on the pass intended for LaFell. It hung as Brady was getting hit. What a job by Gilmore in the air.
Stephon Gilmore can play. All you have to do is get a Buffalo Bill tape and watch him. He can tackle, he can cover, he's got great range and ball skills. He can play left or right corner. At time, he goes for the Odell Beckham one-handed catch. And Tom Brady went down again, Mike. That's 10 times tonight Brady's been hit when throwing.
Kelvin had to dive forward to make that catch. He does so, and he's down to 37 after the Ryan Allen punt. You saw that Gilmore used the rib protection of the receiver LaFell to grab, come back around, and make that spectacular play. Didn't get detected. But the Bills defense with another stop, all even at 10. The Buffalo Bills did win here last year. That was week 17. Tom Brady played only a half of that game. It stopped a 12-game New England winning streak in the games played in Foxborough against the Bills. So they have had dominance against Buffalo here, as they have so many of the teams in the AFC East. We're tied at 10, 9.5 left in this third quarter. And Tyrod Taylor and the Bills take over at their own 37. McCoy increasing them for 7 to the 44. Just scored a touchdown a moment ago.
McCoy can play. He's an outstanding receiver. He can run a lot of different routes, and when he gets on the perimeter, he is extremely dangerous. He can go the distance. Shady McCoy is feeling it right now, Mike, and that's a good thing if you're a Bills fan.
20 touches from McCoy, 111 total yards, and Buffalo's only touchdown came on the prior drive. Taylor's got a pocket. Sammy Watkins downfield. Butler was with him, and McCourty came over for safety help. 3 talented players converge on the ball.
There's Malcolm Butler, not afraid of anyone. Odell Beckham, Sammy Watkins, high first-round draft choices. Everybody talks about the class of 2014. Malcolm Butler, didn't hear any of it. Undrafted. Division II player, hasn't backed down to any competition. Keep an eye on Tyrod Taylor. Third down is short in these empty backfield sets. Don't be surprised if he takes off.
Play clock running down. Taylor has to take a timeout, so each team's had to use one here in the third. .48 to go. John, we talked to Tyrod Taylor last night, and we covered him back in the Orange Bowl. Remember when he took Virginia Tech to the Orange Bowl? They played against Stanford. We talked to him about his head coach Frank Beamer, who's retiring in Blacksburg, said how he taught him so much about character and leadership and being great on and off the field. And so many of those Virginia Tech players over the year have shown some of those qualities. But this is a player, after his 4 years as an apprentice in Baltimore with a lot of good offensive minds around him, has really grasped his first opportunity to be an NFL starter.
Like him a lot, Mike. He's very calm and cool under pressure. He's showing it again tonight. The game has slowed down for him. He's played enough football now to see things clearly.
Buffalo's 5-2 with Taylor as a starter, 0-2 without him. Trying to run it. Chandler Jones there to take it away and force a Buffalo punt.
Chandler Jones read Bill Belichick's scouting report. In third down is short, be aware of the design quarterback runs with Tyrod Taylor. That time Chandler Jones, a much improved run defender. Shows why he is probably heading to the Pro Bowl for sure, Mike.
That was a run, not a sack, so it doesn't add to his total. It was a 10.5. J.J. Watt had a couple yesterday to jump ahead. Colton Schmidt puts it up there high. Amendola at the 15. Big punt return against the Giants last week. Amendola brought it back 21 yards to the 36-yard line.
Tavon Wilson, what a block to spring Amendola.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Dick's Sporting Goods, every holiday season starts at Dick's. Nissan, innovation that excites. And Dunkin' Donuts, check out this week's excessive celebration at ddfieldpass.com. The many faces of Gronk, Rob Gronkowski, who's got that great athletic family, his 4 brothers, Gordy Jr., Dan, Chris, and Glenn. His dad, Gordon, played football at Syracuse. Great-grandfather was an Olympic cyclist. And Western New York in his roots, from Williamsville High School, just outside of Buffalo. Played his first 3 years of high school ball there. Big quiet tonight. Amendola over the middle has been the busy man. Is a yard shy of the first down at the 45-yard line, and the Bill is injured on the play.
Man, is Amendola quick. What a beautiful release at the line of scrimmage. He stuck Manny Lawson outside, came back inside. Well done.
Bakari Rambo is the injured Buffalo player. As Amendola caught it for the 8th time tonight. Rambo had a huge impact in the game against the Jets with an interception, a couple of forced fumbles as Rex Ryan beat his old team. Now shaken up. Rambo landed on that shoulder, and that's what they've been looking at, and he's been grimacing on the sidelines. The athletic training staff looking at the former Redskin draft pick out of Georgia. Full force, full weight coming down on that shoulder. As John mentioned earlier, Aaron Williams has been out that safety spot. They've been mixing and matching throughout the season. Halfway through this third quarter, Brady will complete the first down to Brandon LaFell. He'll take him out midfield. Brady standing up after that one. That's been rare tonight.
He's been hit a lot. Here he is getting hit after the interception. Free rushers, confusion up front. Tom Brady's gone down 10 times, Mike, and sometimes hard. Ryan continues to mix up the looks.
Garrett Blunt to the left will gain about 3 yards. How much of that is what Rex Ryan is doing? How much of that is the instability and the changing nature of that offensive line, which has settled down personnel-wise since the 4th series?
Rex does it to everybody, Mike. Over the years, I don't think there's a defensive coach that causes more chaos and confusion than Rex Ryan. And when he joined forces with the Buffalo Bills, he just so happened to acquire some formidable rushers. And it's a great combination for Buffalo. Can they make the impact plays down the stretch against one of the all-time greats? That's what I want to see.
2nd and 7. Play pass. Brady going to take a shot downfield. And it's incomplete. Intended for Gronkowski. And there's Jerry Hughes, a 10-sack man last year. Has 3 this year. Running downfield with Gronk.
That's amazing to me. Jerry Hughes got a huge contract to rush the passer. Here he's going to peel out of the rush and cover Rob Gronkowski on a flatten up. How good is this? He pinned him right into the sideline, played it perfectly. Hughes has had experience as an outside linebacker in this 3-4 defense. We know he can play defensive end. He's done it all. Sack numbers are down, but there's a lot more ways to impact the game than getting sacks.
Ritz pressure. Brady gets rid of it. Open is Amendola. Eludes the would-be tackler. Amendola to the 6-yard line.
Some of these man-to-man pressures have backfired.
41 yards. This is where they love to run up and run a play.
Here comes Corey Graham, unblocked right down the middle, and Buffalo is caught.
Vintage Patriots here. A flag is down as Blunt powers to the right side and is in for the touchdown. Rather, it's White. James White, I beg your pardon, in for the touchdown. Let's see what the flag is. Buffalo is trying to get back onside. The Patriots trying to get themselves set, and it will be a White touchdown, it appears.
Tom Brady, you got to tip your hat to him. He's been knocked down 10 times. That time, Corey Graham, unblocked in his face. He sees the hot receiver. He gashes the Bills and then jumps the ball in a no huddle and gets after him again.
Officials still are in conference there. Can't tell if White's knee is down. You see a Buffalo Bill defender, Graham, has his arm under the leg. The upper part of the body was laying on another body before the ball crossed. New England was trying to rush. One of the things in those situations is, do the Patriots get set when they jump the ball like that? Rex Ryan's out there. He wants to know what the conversation's about.
A lot of coaches complain that the Patriots aren't set when they jump the ball this quickly and run a play. Do they have 7 men on the line of scrimmage? Are they lined up legally? Take a look at the Patriots. Are they set? Look good to me.
They look good to me there for sure. So are they there for a second? It's a very lengthy conference here. It's a scoring play. Want to make sure they've got it right.
Had a lot of officials discussions here tonight, Mike.
Ruling on the field is defense offside. That penalty is declined. The result of the play, touchdown.
And Robert and Jonathan Kraft watch the Patriots and Tom Brady retake the lead. And again, in this mix, White trying to drag his leg across there as he put the ball towards the edge of the plane and then threw. Touchdown was confirmed via replay, and the extra point is added to make it 17-10. Vintage Patriots. We've seen them do it so often. The Amendola big play downfield. Jump the ball and get the touchdown. 41 yards on this one, John.
It's unbelievable. I have no idea what Duke Williams, the backup safety, is doing. Looked like a full blitz, and Williams never got into coverage position. Remember a couple plays ago, Bakari Rambo got hurt. The backup safety, Williams, comes into the game, and he's not aligned properly. As soon as Amendola goes down, like grease lightning, the Patriots are set up to run a play, and Buffalo can't get their substitution on the field.
Well, you know what else happens on that play, John, too? The Patriots are very close to having an extra player on the field.
Saw Chandler, yes.
Up at the top of the screen as he's running off as well. So there were so many things, and you understand why the discussion happened. Often when you have 12 players on the field, is the snap imminent? Then they can shut down the play for too many men on the field. But the Patriots were trying to use that to their advantage and succeeded getting it off in time.
How about Danny Amendola, Mike? 9 catches, 117 yards, filling in for Julian Edelman.
And no drops this whole year, John.
I'm telling you.
A lot of hang time there, and no return on the kickoff by Denarius Moore. So go back to the point here and watch up at the top of the screen. We've been talking about, did Buffalo have all of their bodies off it? You have a Patriot running up, just gets to the white as the snap is about to be made. And they are clear for the score as well to make it 17-10. And that's something that is reviewable. We have extra men on the field, guys running to the sideline, but what other odd play will we have in this third quarter?
It's a good question.
Been one of those, huh?
Let's see if Tyrod Taylor can answer. He's played well tonight. He's going to have to play his best football of the year down the stretch.
Third drive of this third quarter. Touchdown on the first drive. 3 and out on the last one. This one begins at the 20, and LaShawn McCoy cannot get the edge. Dante Hightower set it, shut it down. Lost it 2.
Excuse me, Dante Hightower can play inside, outside. He can play anywhere. Watch him work off Charles Clay, the tight end's block. Actually, it's Richie Incognito, but Dante Hightower has played great football for New England.
His 4th year, really emerging as the leader and the tone setter, main communicator in that defense. Taylor on 2nd and long, tries the middle, incomplete, looking for Clay. New England dropping back to the zone, gave him nowhere to go. It's 3rd and long.
Let's look at the frustration on Sammy Watkins. I don't know if this ball's intended for him or not. He's going to run a shallow cross. He's going to sit down against the zone coverage. I don't know if it's thrown for him, for Clay, but there's confusion in the middle of the field. And Sammy Watkins, no catches tonight. And a big reason is Malcolm Butler, number 21, is following him wherever he goes.
Third and 11. The Pats bring 5. They try to keep a spy on Taylor. It's Ninkovich chasing. Tyrod throws it up for grabs and out of bounds, incomplete. And that'll be back-to-back 3 and outs of this Buffalo offense.
It's impressive defense by the Patriots. They have not let Tyrod Taylor hurt them scrambling tonight. And you have to credit Butler, the second-year corner, for helping to pitch a shutout on Sammy Watkins. That's impressive.
Punt into the wind. Returns to the left by the Patriots have been very strong the last 2 weeks. Colton Schmitz kicking. On the run, Amendola says get away. It took a bounce favorable for Buffalo. It'll be a 47-yard kick. And down at the 34-yard line. Buffalo's right in the thick of this deal at 5-4 over the wild card side. New England's already 2 to the good in the loss column on the Bengals and the Broncos in terms of having everybody come through Foxborough to try to get to Super Bowl 50 in Santa Clara. Bills, if they can win tonight and rally, they're there with Pittsburgh 1 length ahead of that big mosh pit, 5-5. Chiefs, who are red hot. The Texans, the Jets, the Raiders, Jaguars, and Dolphins, for the moment, pulling for New England, bring Buffalo back within a game. I love when you get done with this week, all the buys are done. It's the sprint now. We got the last 6 weeks. Peter King wrote about that, his Monday morning quarterback today. Couldn't agree more. From the 34, Brady about to get hit, and the ball was hit as he threw it. It is ruled an incomplete pass as Jerry Hughes was in coverage. Hughes is telling his player to pick it up and run that in his mind could have been a fumble.
Rob Gronkowski, Mike, no one knows who's covering Gronk. Every play, it's been somebody different. Here it's Nigel Bradham and Preston Brown doubling Gronk. Tom Brady under serious pressure again.
I can will.
Looked like Brady had his hand on that ball as it was going forward. So not a fumble. LeGarrette Blount leaks out of the backfield left. Being chased by Preston Brown. Nice move in the open field. Blount near the 40-yard line. Pick up just a little more than 5. Danny Amendola is being looked at on the sideline. He came over a moment ago. The athletic training staff looking at him. That punt that he was waving everybody off on. And then got away from. He started reaching for his leg, non-contact as well. So Edelman out with the broken foot. Dobson already out. Now Amendola being looked at. Mario Williams is on the Buffalo sideline talking to the trainers. 3rd and 5. Brady off the edge. Hughes couldn't get there. That pass is caught by Chris Harper. We have a flag back by the quarterback, and I think it's coming back.
Holding. Offense number 61. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 3rd down.
Brady saw the audible. He brought Gronkowski in to protect. And they call Cannon for holding at left tackle. What a catch by Harper, Mike. Just activated from the practice squad, and with Amendola being looked at on the sideline, they're going to need Harper big time.
That would have been his first catch, the undrafted player from Cal. Mario Williams has a foot injury. The Bills are telling us his return is questionable. Much like Rambo hurt on this last drive with his shoulder. His return questionable as well. Run to the 35-yard line. And now some disagreement between Bills and Patriots as the guys head to their sidelines. The punting unit to come on after that Brandon Bolden carried. It will be a gain of 7.
Huge penalty on Cannon, nullifying the big play, and Buffalo continues to hang around.
Ryan Allen to kick this away. 34 caught on the run by Leonis McKelvin, who lost the football on a Monday night in Foxborough again, but this one is knocked out of bounds after possession was exchanged. Dropped at the spot at the 24-yard line. If Buffalo had it long enough, then it's their ball at the spot that it was fumbled, or New England, I should say, the spot it was fumbled, and the Patriots would have it at the Buffalo 24.
Leonis McKelvin.
The ruling on the field is a fumble initially by the receiving team, recovered by the kicking team. The kicking team member has possession. As he's running toward the opponent's goal, he fumbles the ball forward and out of bounds. By rule, the ball will come back to the original kicking team, New England, at the spot of the fumble. First down, New England.
Perfect explanation there by Gene Steratore. The last time we were here on a Monday night, Leonis McKelvin had a fumble on a kickoff late in the game that was recovered by New England. Patriots went in to go get the game-winning touchdown.
First and 10, New England at the 30-yard line.
It's a nightmare for Leonis McKelvin, turning the ball over twice against their nemesis on the road. See if Rex Ryan and this defense can rise to a very difficult challenge.
That is the first turnover of the game either way. And New England gets it back at the 30, and Blunt runs left, and LeGarrette Blunt gains 7 yards before Nigel Bradham brings him down.
New England loves this play. They get 2 double teams up front. Blunt starts one way, and he cuts it back. It's a designed hand back. They get 2 double teams up front, and LeGarrette Blunt pounds it.
Here he goes again for the first down inside the 20 and to the 19-yard line.
LeGarrette Blunt's 250-plus pounds, Mike. And in this cold weather, in this stadium, this time of year, he's no fun to tackle. And they don't have a lot of different blocking schemes. They're not trying to fool anybody with Blunt either.
New England, which had mostly abandoned the run, now just punishing on this drive. Blunt again to the 18-yard line, and then Darius grabs his leg. Marcel went to the locker room briefly in the third quarter, and now he goes back down to be looked at. So Mario Williams got hurt before with that foot injury that had him questionable to return. And now they look at the twice Pro Bowler, Marcel Darius.
When you run LeGarrette Blunt 3 consecutive times, it might not add up to a lot of yards, but the defense has to commit themselves to stop him. And off of these running plays, they set up some great play action passes, and Rob Gronkowski is usually the guy they're looking for. Darius, number 99, let's see what happened to him as he goes down.
He's walking off, and the New England fans, by their boos, letting him know that they doubt the amount of pain that he's in. He did visit the locker room earlier in this half and then came back out. Meantime, Danny Amendola has a knee injury, the Patriots are telling us. His return is questionable. No Dobson, no Amendola. And of course, no Edelman. Off the injury last week. Blunt cuts it back toward the right. And time Buffalo ready for him. Once again, it's Bradham. Corey Graham also helping out. We'll have third down.
Brady saw Bradham on the opposite side of the field. He knew they were short of defenders, so he audibled through a running play, and Bradham took off like he knew the audible was coming.
Patriots can get a first down at the 9. Brady on play action towards Gronkowski, and it's incomplete. And Rob Gronkowski's had a very quiet night, just the one catch. Jerry Hughes put the pressure on, forced the timing off, and Gostkowski will come in for the field goal attempt.
Jerry Hughes has played a great football game tonight for Buffalo. May not show that on the stat sheet, but Brady came out of that play action fake and had no chance to do anything but throw it away.
You saw that it's been a long time since a home field goal missed for Gostkowski. He'll try this one from 35. And again, another nice job on the hold by Ryan Allen. Puts it down, and the Patriots take a 10-point lead. They've scored 10 here in this third quarter. Mentioned the last time that we saw the Bills and the Pats on a Monday night here, down 11 late. The Brady pass gets them tight, and McKelvin loses the ball, very similar spot on the field. Recovered, and Brady right back to the top of the touchdown for 25-24 win. As we were talking about tonight, as McKelvin secured the punt and had it knocked out and punched out by Brandon King, who's done a good job as one of the gunners for the Pats in the last few weeks. And into the hands of Jonathan Freeney before it got booted away and turns into a Patriots field goal.
It's a terrible feeling. See if McKelvin can redeem himself. The Bills are going to have to get a turnover of their own, Mike. But mistakes have doomed the Bills. They've had a couple key penalties, a couple great opportunities in the passing game they haven't made, and hard to win at this place.
No doubt.
Their record in this building or this stadium is incredible.
Really
I still
is.
can't get over it. It really is. With Belichick and Brady working together.
And what you talk about over the years, John, with all the variety of players they've done it with, you're seeing it tonight. Look at all the players who are out because of injury. Just the receiving core here this evening. Denarius Moore with no return on the kick. And Buffalo will take over from its own 20-yard line. What do you think about what the Bills have looked like offensively as they came out of halftime?
I think they've done some good things. They have missed some deep shots that they normally hit in the passing game, Mike. They've run the ball okay. But Tyrod Taylor has got to get a score on the board and make this a one-possession game. Somehow, some way, they've got to get Sammy Watkins involved in this offense. They traded a lot to go get him in the first round. He's been no factor at all in this game.
Moved up from the number 9 spot. They used a first and a fourth rounder in addition to get up to the number 4 pick in that draft to take Watkins. Here's McCoy, who they acquired by trade. Good tackle by Logan Ryan. I know you love corners that are involved in the run game.
I really do, Mike. And you have to do it all for Bill Belichick. He can't just be a one-dimensional cover guy. This is a sweep, handoff sweep to the left side. He keys it and goes in there with authority, just like he did for Greg Schiano in the Rutgers days.
Ryan and Duron Harmon, the safety, were in that same class at Rutgers. Both came out in that draft a few years ago and are parts of this young New England secondary. Final snap of this third quarter. Taylor find McCoy underneath, pulled down by Ninkovich at the 25. A penalty flag comes in at the back end of this play.
Perhaps a face mask on Ninkovich.
Barry Anderson, the umpire, was the one who threw it.
One of the longest third quarters we've ever had, Mike.
There is no foul for a face mask on the play. Third down Buffalo. This is also the end of the third quarter.
And the Patriots a quarter away from 10-0. They're up 10 after 3 in the battle of Rex and Belichick on Monday Night Football. Cold night, temperature in the 20s, quarterback numbers a little bit lower than these two guys have been putting up thus far this year. Taylor completing right around half his passes, same as Brady. No interceptions in the game, and the one sack is a bit misleading because Tom Brady's been hit a lot by the Buffalo defense on this night. Fourth quarter begins. Patriots leading by 10. And Tyrod Taylor is 3rd and 4. Stepping up in the middle, and they were waiting for him. Brought down for essentially no gain. Ninkovich retracing his steps. Comes to meet Dominique Easley, last year's first-round pick out of Florida.
Everybody's running the same blitzes. 2 linebackers blitzing in the A gaps. 1 blitzes, 1 leaves, and there's one-on-one blocking up front. There's Easley, Ninkovich, wrapping up Tyrod Taylor. 3 and out.
John, Chris Harper goes back because of the Amendola injury to catch the punt from Colton Schmidt. Under the watchful eye of Ivan Fears, their running backs coach. Harper did a lot of this in practice on Saturday. Calls for and makes the fair catch. And Duke Williams had a very good idea, no Amendola back there, so he kind of went making sure he was close by. Hey, Coach Gruden, you love football?
I love it.
All right, we'll test you. See how much all of you love it out there.
Can't wait for this Johnny football.
The Ravens and the Browns next Monday night.
Big excited to get back to Ohio. The Cleveland Browns, young quarterback. It's been a tough year for both those teams, but got to take a good look at your teams in adversity too, Mike. The elevator doesn't go up all the time. Sometimes it goes down, and you got to see what you have. And both Cleveland and Baltimore are going to do exactly that.
And you love football.
I sure do.
So you love us in football. I know you'll be with us Monday night, 8:15 Eastern. Penalty flag before
Prior
this
to
one.
the snap.
Timeout, excuse me, before that timeout.
Buffalo calls their second timeout of the half.
But Buffalo has used a lot of timeouts this year in odd situations. That one hurts.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Goodyear. Tires chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. DirecTV, call 1-800-DirecTV. At NFLShop.com, order your holiday gifts today and save up to 15% off. You wondering what that is, John? That's Old Sturbridge Village, Massachusetts, reenactment of the traditional 1830s Thanksgiving as we get ready for the great holiday on Thursday. Brady, first down, looking for Gronk. Caught by Gronkowski. At the 45-yard line, conversation with the officials and confirmed a catch and a gain of 25.
Matter of time before they shoot a play-action pass down the field, and I think Gronk has control and has completed the catch, Mike. Well done. What a route by Rob Gronkowski, and before Bakari Rambo can get there, he secures the ball for New England.
Empty out the backfield of Garrett Blunt up at the top of your screen. Here's Brady getting LaFell on the line of scrimmage. They had enough people. Shot downfield towards Harper. On the deflection, it's taken and intercepted by Stephon Gilmore. Gronk pulls down back at the 5-yard line.
Brady disgusted with himself with a 10-point lead, first down in that field position. Why force that ball to Harper, who you just activated, into the strength of the Bills defense? It's Graham, number 20, carrying Harper right down the seam, and Stephon Gilmore on the old-fashioned tip drill. Gets his 3rd interception. And poor route distribution, didn't need to do that with a 10-point lead on first down in that field position.
For Gilmore, the pick his 3rd. For Brady, just the 4th he has thrown this year.
Buffalo likes to take shots in this field position, and I'm going to keep saying it. Sammy Watkins, against whoever covers him, deserves a couple shots.
Here goes McCoy running towards the edge, got around Mayo, patiently waited for the block. He's pulled down at the 13-yard line. So I'll clean up one more injury thing, John, by the way, back over with Buffalo. Aaron Dobson's been out most of the game with that ankle injury. The Patriots tell us he is now out for the game. A lot of players, both sides lost. Remember, Buffalo lost John Miller, their right guard. In the first half of this one, Craig Urbik has jumped over there. and played most of the way. Number 60 looking back at Taylor now. Second and 3, setting up the screen to McCoy. Stopped on a dime. Dives forward. Great awareness, acceleration in the first down, but we have a flag down on the opposite side. The Bills may have been downfield too early. It's the preliminary indication.
An eligible man downfield offense. Number 66, 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Chantrell Henderson, the right tackle.
That's his second penalty tonight. Can't go downfield on a screen. Take a look at Henderson, number 66. Good call. 2nd and 8. Inside pass rushers. Both these Patriots first-round draft choices. Malcolm Brown, number 90. And 99, Dominic Easley. See if they can go to work against Verbic, a backup right guard.
Second and 8. Time for Taylor. Sideline for Watkins. Butler with the coverage, the contact, and the flag is thrown.
It's going to be against New England. But Tyrod Taylor is going to get somebody hurt. These free safeties are driving on his eyes, and the ball's just in the air too long.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21. Spot foul automatic. First down.
Talked to Dante Hightower and Malcolm Butler together. We're asking Butler about all the notoriety, the celebrity that came with the Super Bowl play, and Hightower was just effusive in his praise of how hard Butler worked in all the plays leading up to the one we all saw in the Super Bowl against Seattle. And he's come to the field since that moment with still the great attention to detail. Guilty there of the penalty. It cost him 31. Williams has Taylor out there in front trying to get in the way of a defender. But it's Logan Ryan with another run game stop from his cornerback position.
It's Tyrod Taylor. He's going to hand the ball off to Williams and see that Williams needs some help. He's going to go in there and look for a block. So one thing I worry about with Tyrod Taylor, Mike, he's already missed a couple games with an injury, but he needs some work at his blocking.
That's your quarterback. That's the way you want to block, right? Just get in the way. Don't hit anybody. Protect yourself. Save yourself. From the 43-yard line, scanning the field, coming across to Hogan. Chris hit hard up high by Ninkovich. Right around that first down mark at the 49.
You see Tyrod Taylor, Bill Belichick rushes 3. It's a maximum zone. He's got time to go through his progressions and get to his second and third receiver. It's a nice work by Tyrod Taylor. It sets up a 2nd and short. Nice time to take a shot here off of play action.
I think actually we're going to get a measurement. It's so close to touching the 49-yard line.
It's a little short up here, Mike.
Get your body away from TV.
He used to do this for a living,
so
Mike.
lucky. What, officiate?
Hey, I like it. It gives you plenty of time to look at that big menu of plays, and you're down by 10. You're on the road. Here comes Mills, 79, an extra offensive lineman. This is their heavy group, and they love to slam their big back, their rookie halfback, Carlos Williams, in this situation. Expect to see Williams on an inside run.
Your tight end as well, Matthew Mulligan, University of Maine. Run Williams bounces outside. Jung comes up, rings him up. 4th down.
You got a tendency against Bill Belichick. You're in trouble. They ran Tyrod Taylor on a quarterback run on 3rd and short. And on the right side of your screen, 23 Chung, unblocked, stuffs it.
And Buffalo, in addition to the missed opportunities, they had 2 of 11 on third down conversions. That one of the few third-in shorts they didn't make here tonight. Colton Schmidt kicks it again. It is Chris Harper back, and he catches it on the way out of bounds over at the 6-yard line. The mark officially at the 7. Brady's story tonight. Up 10. Robert Kraft, 22 years of owning this team with the Kraft family. His son Jonathan, the team president. They have so much to be proud of what this place has become, what this organization's become, this stadium, and this entire Patriot Place area around the stadium, which has really become a destination here between Boston and Providence. LeGarrette Blount with a run to the right. Blount will get the edge and get the first down. Take it out of bounds over by the 24-yard line. Good way to run out inside your own 10.
Hear Bill Belichick talk about situational football. Well, one of the situations you work on repeatedly is your backed up offense. Number one goal is to get a first down, get out of danger position, and what better way to do it than hand the ball off to this big back. I just want to reiterate it, Mike. When you play Blount in this weather, no fun to see him at that size.
24 is tossed left with Blount. He'll get across the 30 and get pulled down at the 31-yard line. The flag down. Corey Graham was over there on the tackle. This one coming back.
Going to be holding.
Holding. Offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
You get Brian Stork there.
Brian Stork, Mike, he's the center for the world champions last year. He is not ready to go. He's hurt. He has a concussion. So he doesn't play. Last week, I'm watching him play the Giants. He's the right tackle.
Right.
And David Andrews, the center, hasn't missed a snap all year. Andrews struggled early in this game, so now Stork is back at his natural center position. Hopefully the Patriots getting some healthy bodies. They're already missing Nate Solder, their left tackle for the year. Important that these 5 men get in concert together.
First and 20. Brady getting hit again as he throws. That time
he's hurt.
Chandler. Brady took a shot there. Yeah, he is.
Jerry Hughes has hit Brady a lot tonight. Marcus Cannon has really struggled at left tackle in his first game back. He's been out, but Tom Brady been hit a lot.
See a foot on the ground as Hughes goes up, turns the head to try to make it a contact with the shoulder. Brady hands it here to Brandon Bolden. Comes up shy of the 20-yard line. I saw Gene Steratore, a long conversation and look over there with Tom Brady, making very sure. I think they're going to be even extra cautious after what happened with Case Keenum in St. Louis. We were watching the game. It's hard to believe that Case Keenum was not taken out of that game with all the people who were watching for concussions or other injuries. And Chris Mortensen reported earlier today that there's going to be a call with all of the league's 32 head athletic trainers on Tuesday. The NFL and the Players Association leading it to try to review concussion protocols. On the edge, it is LaFell after the catch. He'll be pulled down at the 28-yard line.
Mike, it's going to be Leotis McKelvin back deep again. He has had a very difficult time in this stadium as a return man. Fumbled earlier, fumbled a few years ago. Let's see if he can redeem himself and set the table for the Bills. There's plenty of time left. They just need somebody to make a play.
This kick by Ryan Allen is a good one into the wind. McKelvin secures it at the 21. And brought down to 25 by Nate Ebner. 50 on the kick. The former rugby player at Ohio State. Then played football at the end. Ebner with the tackle. Get a good look at the good people of New England. Coverage tonight from Spider Cam, brought to you by DirecTV. The thing the Crafts are so proud of is that this stadium was built without public financing, no personal seat licenses. A whole bunch of loyal fans here fill this place up on a regular basis. Taylor, the Bills, got to have something here. They start from their own 25, and Taylor's thrown out of bounds by Hightower after a gain of 5 to the 30.
Hightower. He has the speed to track you down. He can read out of a pass rush. And if you're a scrambling quarterback, every once in a while, he'll just spy on you and wait for you to take off. And when you do, you'll be sorry you did. Tyrod Taylor's got to throw the ball better, quick, because Buffalo's running out of time. He's been off on most of his throws here in the second half, Mike. A lot of that has to do with the Patriots secondary, but he's been off.
Good opening drive to start this half. McCoy can't catch that one. The pass is incomplete. 5 plays and touchdown on that first drive, but the rest of the half hasn't been so good.
Well, he's had some opportunities to complete some passes. The protection has been pretty good. He's underthrown some deep passes. He hasn't set his feet when he's had a chance to. Just bad route distribution in the middle of the field. It's a combination of problems, but they're on the clock here, and they need a first down right now from Taylor.
Butler comes over to Sammy Watkins' side. Taylor's rolling the other way. Hightower in his face. Watkins, incredible grab.
That's Watkins.
5-star grab.
That's why they traded up to get him, Mike.
And he hurt his shoulder.
Tyrod's okay. Crossing route by Sammy. Watch this one-handed grab.
So Taylor gets hit. And they look at Watkins on the sideline as well. Here's what happened with Taylor.
The right collarbone area, Mike. He's holding that right shoulder, right collarbone area.
And then, John, they stopped the play because Watkins was kneeling down on the white of the sideline there, too close to the action as the training staff was assessing him. So that's why they stopped the play for a moment. And the clock, now they both resume. Taylor's give inside. Carlos Williams runs in to a wall. And a loss of 2.
Look out there at Alan Branch, number 97. You'll be hard-pressed to find a bigger man on this planet, Mike. Second year in this system, and Branch has been an inside run stuffer, and you see E.J. Manuel getting loose just in case. Taylor's hurting.
Manuel 2 starts against Cincinnati and against Jacksonville. That very poor performance in London against the Jaguars. Watkins back on the field. The pressure's picked up. Hogan is open, and he's got it at the 20. And 2 good pass connections. This one to Hogan gets Buffalo down to the 15-yard line as Taylor is still in pain.
Tyrod Taylor threw a perfect pass that time. Straight go route. Chung, who serves as a third corner in this sub defense at times, has been run by a couple times by Hogan tonight.
Hogan, who, when he was in Miami's camp a few years ago, earned the nickname 7-11 during the Hard Knocks series on HBO, said, I've got to prove I deserve that nickname, so I've embraced it. Well, he's been the open guy tonight. 5 catches and 91 yards. Chris Hogan. Hitting the 5-minute mark. McCoy to the left. Nowhere. Shirt again, John, continuing his very solid performance after his 4 years with the Browns. First year at the Patriots.
Well, Shirt can do a lot of different things. You see him number 93 on the right side of your screen. He just runs this play down, but I'm going to be looking for Patrick Chung if I'm the Bills. The Patriots aren't using Justin Coleman, their normal nickel corner. Rashaan Melvin played the nickel position last week. Right now they're relying on Chung, who's really a safety, and he's asked to cover some wide receivers in some difficult situations. That's a matchup I'm looking for.
Well, 20 to go. Hogan crossing underneath. Dropping back off the line, Sherrod again for the tackle.
Here comes the pass rush specialist for the Patriots. Easley, Ninkovich. You said the Patriots don't have a lot of first-rounders on offense. It's because they're all on defense. Look out there, Hightower, Easley, McCourty, Chandler Jones. They have a lot invested in this defense, and defenses do win championships. Let's see if they're up to the task again tonight.
Need 2 scores, down 10. It's 3rd and 10 here at the 15. New England rushes 4. Taylor slings it, and it is incomplete. And Taylor is still grimacing as he comes back towards the Buffalo sideline. Continues to grab up at that shoulder collarbone area. Carpenter's going to come on for the field goal attempt.
Nice play. Once again, it's Logan Ryans who's made a number of nice plays tonight. Nice job redeeming himself after an earlier miscue. Here's Carpenter.
Must make 33. Extra point size field goal is not through, so it's 20-13. Buffalo, remember, had to use those timeouts earlier, so they have 1 left with 3.5 to go in the 4th. Athletic training staff was over there looking at Tyrod Taylor before we came back out of break, and now he's over there talking with Greg Roman. This goes back to this push by Hightower at the back end of the play. Taylor, remember, with that knee injury, couldn't gain his balance and came down with all of his weight on that right collarbone area. Has been grabbing at it since. There's a ton of injuries both ways here tonight. And before each snap here, he kept looking up towards that right collarbone area and even grabbing it before the snap. Now you've got 3.5 left with 1 timeout. If the Patriots play it by the book and maximize the time they take off the clock, Buffalo wouldn't get the ball back on a 3-and-out series until there's about 1:54 left. So the onside kick is very possible here. That's why New England has 10 players up. It'll be a little pooch kick by Gay to the voided area. It's caught at the 25. McCourty just goes down right there. Check in for a moment with Lisa Salters.
Well, Mike, you mentioned the Patriots' Nate Solder being out for the season with injury, but the bigger concern for his family right now is that their 4-month-old son Hudson has been diagnosed with a rare form of kidney cancer and has been undergoing chemotherapy once a week for the last several weeks. I talked to Nate today. He told me that Hudson had an MRI today, so they should know more tomorrow about whether the chemo is actually shrinking the tumor, what the next course of action is. Right now, he said Hudson is very happy despite the chemo. He's a very joyful kid, and that's making it a little bit easier for the family to deal with this. But Nate said he appreciates all the attention and the well wishes from folks all around the country. But he also wanted us on his behalf to acknowledge other families who are going through similar situations who may not have the same resources. He says everyone needs support like that when they're dealing with something like this, Mike.
Amen. Thoughts to the shoulders to Nate. Handoff from Brady, and good run here by Blunt. For 5 yards to the 30-yard line. Rex Ryan's going to take a timeout with 3:20 left. You speak of that in other families, Lisa. We're watching Tom Brady, who played for Lloyd Carr at Michigan. And I just want to send my sympathies to Lloyd Carr and his family. Chad Carr, Lloyd's grandson, passed away today, 5 years old, brain cancer, tumor. It's in my hometown, and you know the folks, and Coach Carr and all those people are very special to a lot of us. And I'm sure Tom Brady's got the same thoughts for his coach as well from Michigan.
No doubt, Mike.
As we get close to this Thanksgiving season. So the ball's at the 30-yard line, 2nd and 5 here for the Patriots. So Buffalo out of timeouts.
It's all or nothing, Mike, for Buffalo. They're in a sellout run-stop mode. They cannot let LeGarrette Blount get a first down.
And Blount gets 2, gets pulled down there. And this snap will come with 2:35 to go. As we said, Buffalo can run it. If they stop it here, can get the ball back on the other side with about a minute 54 left.
Well, here comes an extra offensive lineman. Number 60, David Andrews, into the game. Be surprised if Tom Brady threw the football. A number of backup receivers. Even Brandon LaFell hasn't played, Mike.
They're going to max the clock here and take the timeout on their own. With 2:36 to go. John, you said it before with Buffalo, and that one player they had to call a timeout because they only had 10 players on the field before a drive started. Marcell Dareus was not on the field as we looked at it in break. And that's such a crushing play because there's a timeout that can save you 40 seconds right now on the clock.
Now, this can never happen. You have 10 players on the field to start a possession. We have coaches communicating the personnel. Jerry Hughes is looking for Marcell Dareus, looking for their base defense, and they can't even get 11 guys on the field, and it could cost them a football game. You need to have these timeouts for these types of situations to win these types of games.
69 is eligible.
Shaq Mason, who's done that very often this year before the Patriots, lining up in the fullback position.
And he's eligible. I don't think they'll throw him the ball.
3rd and 3, a Patriot conversion here should close the deal for the night. They run it with Blunt, who is stopped, so it'll run down to the 2-minute warning. And Buffalo's defense did what they had to do, force the 3 and out, and the Bills will get it back with a chance when the kick comes on the other side of the 2-minute warning.
Nowhere to go for LeGarrette Blunt. You have to credit Rex Ryan and this game plan that he's had tonight. Normally Tom Brady's a close to 70% passer. Tonight he's had to work for every single completion.
Back in Foxborough, 2 minutes to play in Week 11 of the NFL. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy. Make sure you stick around after the game. The GMC post-game report coming up on SportsCenter at night. I'll be joined by all the fellas. Ray Lewis, Steve Young, and Trent Dilfer will break it all down for you. SVP goes one-on-one with Cam Newton. Plus, his one big thing, he'll take a look at the crazy college coaching carousel. SportsCenter at night, immediately following the game. We'll see you then. Mike and John, take us home.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Carolina, the 16th team in the Super Bowl era, to open 10-0. 10 of those teams making the Super Bowl. New England's trying to be the 17th team. Leotis McKelvin is back deep to receive this punt. The Bills are out of timeouts, and Charles Clay, their tight end, has a neck injury, and he's questionable to be on this final drive. Ball kicked away by Ryan Allen. McKelvin backpedaling, great kick, and he fair catches it, and he muffs that too! But he gets on it at the 15-yard line to keep any hope of the game alive for Buffalo.
Leotis McKelvin will be hard-pressed to return many more kicks in Foxborough. Very fortunate to get on this football and give Tyrod Taylor a chance. He's got to do it on his own in a hurry, Mike. Sammy Watkins, a big catch in the previous series. Look for Taylor to scramble in these situations. That's what he does best.
Chris Hogan has been the man taking advantage of his matchups throughout the night. Number 15 for Buffalo in the slot at the top. No timeouts. Here we go. It is Woods for the forward progress mark just shy, though. They're going to move him forward. Let's say first down and a gain of 10 for Woods. Again, Taylor still with that injury, and now they're having headset communication issues. He's having trouble hearing the sideline, which has happened a lot to Buffalo this year. It happened to them in London. It happened to them a couple of weeks ago, and here they are in that situation again. Now we're getting a play stoppage here.
The previous play is under review.
I wonder if we're going to check the spot on that ball. They gave him a first down at the 26.
A lot of time ran off, Mike.
But they had no timeouts. That was the right thing to do. To let that time run out first before stopping the game. They're also looking to see if the knee was down for the receiver, and I believe it was, so it's going to be 2nd down and 1 on that replay review. They had given the first down to the receiver. It's going to be 2nd and 1 instead. You see they have it marked off in that spot already.
Boy, oh boy.
And here's G.
After review, it has been determined that the runner was down by contact short of the line to gain. It'll be 2nd down and 1, Buffalo.
I can't remember seeing a 2nd and 1 play reviewed in a 2-minute drill. Buffalo's got to hurry regardless of the headsets. They got to get plays called and up and at them faster. Can't waste another second.
Like we said, that's been multiple weeks in different locations that Buffalo's had those headset communication issues. 2nd and 1. 3-man rush. Pressure Taylor has to get out, get the first down and get out of bounds, and he will take it to the 29-yard line with 1:09 remaining in regulation.
Second time Javal Sheard had a chance to get the sack. These Buffalo Bill receivers have to be alert to uncover when Taylor scrambles. He hurt New England in Buffalo the first time these two teams played. Almost brought them back from a 37-13 deficit.
See, despite the shoulder injury, Charles Clay, 85, the tight end, is playing. Lined up right on the 1 in 1st and 10. 4-man rush now. Taylor in trouble. Escapes, shovels forward to McCoy. LaShawn McCoy gets out of bounds after he gets as much yardage as he can. And Taylor continues to deal with the pain.
This time it's Rob Ninkovich on the right side of your screen, compressing the pocket. Can't wrap up Taylor. Tyrod is hurt. He's having a hard time calling the plays. That right collarbone shoulder area.
You always talk about, John, 4th quarter pass rush. Most championship teams have it. Ninkovich and Jones trying to compress the pocket here. Taylor's throw should have been intercepted right through the hands of Chung.
Chung is the nickel corner tonight. We said it. Justin Coleman not here. Haven't seen Rashaan Melvin. At time he should intercept this pass and score. But he gives the Bills new life. He sees this the whole way. This is like pregame warm-up for Chung. 3rd and 6. Buffalo's got to take advantage. When you get a gift like that, capitalize.
Taylor firing sideline, and it's incomplete. Great attempt by Butler to go up and get it. And we'll have 1 play to keep it alive for Buffalo. 4th and 6.
I think Tyrod's hurt, Mike.
Oh, yeah, John, you can just see every time he reaches up towards that collarbone area. And we saw E.J. Manuel warming up. And after the training staff looked at him on the bench, there was Greg Roman and the offensive staff talking to him. So
these last 2 throws, there's been nothing on either one of them.
Have to get to the 38, or else the Patriots are 10-0. Taylor's throw sideline. Watkins ruled no catch, and that's ball game.
Got to make these plays. This is just an outside breaking route, not really contested. I think it's a catch.
Secures the ball all the way through. One knee is down.
Another replay tonight. That's a catch.
The previous play is being reviewed.
Catch there. Elbow down, thigh down. Yeah, that's all good. Jerry Austin's over my shoulder here. Twice Super Bowl referee. Jerry?
Well, it appears to me that the knee's down and then the elbow's down. Either one of them constitutes a catch inbounds, and then he rolls out of bounds and maintains control of the ball. I believe this will be reversed to a completion and a runner out of bounds.
Yeah, Jerry, that is a key part of this, too, to continue to watch the ball at the back end of the play to make sure that he holds on to it. It's secured there.
Got to be a catch.
You just got to watch this part of it right there, too. As the point of the ball touches.
But he maintains control with his hand and fully
Underneath it?
Underneath it, controlling the ball. He never loses control of the ball. Elbow, knees down, inbounds. This should be a completion.
I'm sorry, Jerry. What's interesting here, too, is Taylor's got the jacket on. E.J. Manuel is warming up on the sideline right now for the Bills. So Buffalo's offense has stayed out on the field. New England's defense is out there. And E.J. Manuel is warming up on the sideline with 46 seconds to go.
Well, the last 3 throws that Taylor has made, there's been nothing on the
After
ball.
review, the ruling has been changed to a completed ball. The receiver maintains possession with a knee down. With Buffalo's ball 1st and 10 on the 40-yard line.
And this is the all-time throwing the cape off and coming in the game, John. But Manuel does not come in, and Taylor stays in the game. So Taylor had the cape on. Manuel did all the warming up over here on the sideline. And they still decide to send Taylor back in with 46 seconds to go.
Nothing wrong with his legs. If you're New England, make sure you keep him in the pocket. Make him do it with his arm, not his legs.
So from the 40 with a 3-man rush, Taylor throws underneath, and that may be the best thing for Buffalo, because that wasn't going to get a lot of yardage, and McCoy might not have gotten to the sideline.
You can see New England is using a mush rush. They're not trying as much to get to Taylor as much as they are to keep him in the pocket. With 40 seconds left, no timeouts left. Watkins, the home run threat at the top of the screen, and their leading receiver, Charles Clay, is in the slot. They got to push it now. No more check down.
2nd and 10. Look out. Ninkovich hits Taylor, and the ball comes out. Let's see who's got it. Looks like Buffalo's recovered.
Rob Ninkovich.
The ball is placed at the 32-yard line at the spot of the fumble.
And the
ball
clock
will be at the 32.
and the clock continues to run because it doesn't get stopped there. So we're down to 8 seconds left, and it's 3rd and 18. And Taylor's throwing. He's got to get out of bounds. Watkins knows that and gets out of bounds. No, he stays inbounds, they rule, and the game will come to an end.
Buffalo's got work to do. Clearly, got to respect their effort. Rob Ninkovich, the Patriots, they make the signature plays, Mike, at the end of games. That's why they're 10-0 and the defending world champions. They have a kicker, a quarterback, and a 4th quarter pass rush. That's why they are where they are.
And Bill Belichick and the Patriots have improved to 10-0 with the victory. We'll try to find where Rex Ryan is as they meet again, and it's advantage Belichick in the regular season one more time. He improves to 11-3. Let's go back to this final play here. Watkins is not touched down by contact by Butler. So I would assume the clock is stopped. That's the same thing as going out of bounds. He got a body part down, but he rolls himself out of bounds. And that was an interesting stop there of the clock. Non-stop of the clock, I should say. The game expiring. And Rex Ryan and the Bills dropping to 5-5. What a screwed up night of plays and officiating this was. Wow. Again on a Monday. 2013 GMC postgame's coming up. We've got the Gruden Grinder in a moment, so don't go away for that. Our final score here as everybody heads off to the traffic on Route 1, Foxborough, 2013 New England.